think I left my drink in the fridge and I need to get it. Hey, what's up, family? It's Candace Yvette again, back with that same case that came to me out of the Chicago, Illinois area. And D Ice reached out to me and he's going to be jumping on the live soon. I just sent him a link. Sent is preparing, my co host Sent is preparing to come back up as well. I'm also going to be putting a link in the description box below so that if anybody has any questions or anything like that for D-Ice, you'll be able to ask your questions. Just remember to be respectful, okay? So all I'm asking everybody. So I'm just waiting on D-Ice and Sent to come up with me, okay? And I'm going to be dropping a link in the description. Well, I'm sorry, I keep saying description box. I'm so used to recording my videos. I'm still getting used to doing lives. Um, I will be putting this link in the chat, okay? So if anybody would like to come up, ask questions, you can. Just remember to be respectful. That's all I ask. And I've been hearing rumors about people getting porn bombed, so I will be checking and screening before everybody comes up, okay? So all you have to do is hit the link if you would like to join, okay? Or if you have any questions or anything. um just remember to be respectful of the victim and remember to be respectful of the guests, okay? So yeah. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me for y'all there. I am operating off of 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Um, so yes, I am a little bit tired. Plus, I have some other things I have to catch up on later on this week or whatever. So y'all, I'm sorry. I don't mean to yawn all in y'all face and stuff. Shout out to Ro Blessed and Queen Riri for joining earlier. Um, they're both from the Chicago, Illinois area, and they basically gave me a lot of insight about everything that goes on in that area concerning crime because they're familiar with it. But as I said earlier, it's not just Chicago, y'all. This stuff is national. What's going on with Black women and children? Okay, it's national. It's not just Chicago, and it's sad because the Shy gets a bad rep. Okay, it really is sad because Shy gets a bad rep, but the stuff that happens in the Shy happens in Memphis, it happens in Detroit, it happens in Gary, it happens in Indianapolis, it happens in New Orleans. Um, it just is widespread. It happens everywhere. Okay. So let me see. But for those of you who don't know what's going on, there was a live video. I believe it was posted Saturday or Sunday. And in that live video, there was a man walking through the neighborhood and he was getting, like, I don't know if he was coming from work or school or what have you, but he was hold on, Sid just sent me a message, y'all. Okay, so just hold on one sec. So let me try to send these links again because Sint is saying she's getting a delayed link. So let me send the links again. But yeah, so there was a man walking through the neighborhood on, I believe, Saturday afternoon. He was coming home and he heard a woman screaming, okay, and banging against something. And as he listened in, um, he came to learn that it was a woman in an abandoned property. Hold on, guys. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so he recognized the woman's screams and cries for help. He did not want to approach the house and go and enter the house on his own. Okay, so what he did was he did call the police and let the police know, hey, there's somebody inside this abandoned property and she's yelling and needs help. Okay, and when the police went in now, um, I'm hearing a couple different stories about the location of the young woman and where she was found in the property. Some articles are saying in the basement. From what I'm hearing from word of mouth, allegedly she was found upstairs. I'm not sure where she was found. Okay, but the point is she was found. She was found alive. They did not find a corpse, so we thank God for that. But yeah. So he heard her screaming, and hold on, I sent the wrong link. I'm just texting my co-host, y'all. Okay, and I double sent everybody links, so I'm just waiting for everybody to come up. Okay. But yeah, so he called 911, and what was so remarkable about him calling 911, what's up, Sent?
Hey, girl.
What was so remarkable about him calling 911 is he called 911 in the midst of other people having reported heard this woman screaming and banging on things for help, and they ignored it. It was even allegedly one family who lived like right next door, and they didn't even like respond to her cries for help. That's kind of scary when you think about it. What you think, Sent? That is scary. It's
Hold
scary
on.
times that
Okay,
we.
so what? So I missed the first part. What did you say?
So I was basically going over the story of what happened and how I came to find out about D Ice. Okay, he's the good Samaritan who helped to rescue a woman who was chained and shackled in an abandoned property. And basically, what I was saying was, it's scary how um, it was other people who witnessed her in this property screaming and asking for help, and nobody said or did anything. But he had just so happened to come along and hear her, and he was the only one out of all these other people who screamed and who heard her or came forward and confirmed that they heard her. He was the only one who stopped to call the police and all. Okay.
Oh, I think that it's sad that so um, so much stuff has been normalized that people can overlook hearing somebody scream and holler and bang for help and not even look more into it to see what's going on. Like it's normalized to see and hear things like that, or people scared to
Hmm.
even intervene because they live that like that's where they live. So, you know, do I want to? Is it worth putting my family and my life in jeopardy? But sometimes God, not sometimes God puts you in places where your discernment kick in. It kind of sounds like that movie. Oh gosh, Encounter. And Have you ever seen that?
Who plays in it? I don't know if I've ever seen it.
It's more like I watch pure flicks. I can't be watching all that extra stuff because I'm a super empath. I be feeling too much, and so it's usually like on the family channels. Um,
Mhm.
I found it on Netflix at one point, but it's not there no more. But anyway, it's like these people are just driving past, and you know they all come together, and they end up in this little restaurant, and the man that's in there is hypothetically speaking Jesus or God, and he is basically like bringing them together to show them like you have the discernment, and this is but everybody passed this one girl that was walking. He was in the dark. Everybody passed the one girl. Somebody almost hit her because he was playing on the car. The other one, his wife, he wanted to pick her up, but his wife said to keep going. Another person rode past, and then there was one person that actually picked her up. So it's like, thank God that the discernment was there to pick to look more into it, or even be concerned. It's just sad that it's normalized in the community to overlook certain things.
Right. But like, why do we do that? Why do you think that we do that? You know?
I think because a lot of it is a product of your environment. And I know living in Georgia, it was one time we rode past a couple fighting in the middle of the street. And me coming from Midwest, I'm like, whoa, stop, like help them. And they were like, no, this is normal downtown. You keep going, you mind your own business because you don't want to intervene, and you can get in, you can get hurt for intervening. So it's
Mm,
like it's a learned behavior that we've gotten ourselves into, and then they make fun of white people because they be like, "Oh, what's going on?" You know what I'm saying? That we
yeah.
make fun of them, but in reality, we all should really be like that.
You know, and not to change the subject, but it kind of reminds me of these cases that I covered with black women on black women crime, and with hold on guys. So DI says he's in the waiting room. Okay, hold on. So hold on guys. I don't I don't see him in the waiting room.
I was, I was
Huh?
going to say you might want to check the link.
Yeah, I got the current link.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm about to send him my page, and then I'm gonna have him come up through the chat. So I'm gonna let you keep talking. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna go on mute.
Oh, oh, I really don't. I just know that living in the kind of neighborhood I live in now compared to when I was in Georgia, I know, especially before we had kids, I know we was the neighbors that would be like listening to people argue and fight, that argue and fight, but argue, the ones that argue and they be real loud in the middle of the night. We were the ones creeping up, looking over in the blinds just enough, just so they could see. We ain't never called the police or nothing, but it never got to the point where it escalated where he actually hit her or she hit him. But it was some nights where it did escalate a little bit, and nobody ever called the police. And that was in Georgia. Now, when I stayed in Kentucky, that was totally different. So in Kentucky, we stayed in a predominantly white neighborhood, and some, if anything, as much as a windstorm went down, the police was circling the blocks, making sure coming in, knocking on the
All
door,
right.
make sure. Hello.
Okay, Sid, what were you saying?
Oh no, I was just saying it's always it's different in the dynamics of how everybody act when there's certain things going on. And I was comparing Georgia, living in Georgia, where it was predominantly black, how we would watch people argue and fight all the time. But then when we moved to Kentucky, and it would be a windstorm and the electric go out, and the police was knocking on the door to make sure everybody was okay. You know, it's just set up differently.
All types of stuff, man.
Hey, what's up, D Ice?
Hello.
Hey, so let me do this interview real quick. I'm gonna hit you right back.
Here, let me
All
take my
right.
slides down.
It's kind of low. I'm listening to y'all trying to kind of low. I was trying to get on my iPad, but they playing with me.
Oh
Oh,
man.
that's why my name ain't right. But
You better
I
get that
can
name
barely
right.
hear
Get it
y'all.
right. You can't hear us?
I can hear you a little bit. Let me see something. Hold on. We playing. I've been playing with stuff all day and all types of stuff. Okay, what's the
Hmm.
code?
Let me know when you get your sound right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You've been busy, huh?
Huh?
I said you've been busy, huh?
Busy as a beaver. And now I'm getting death threats
Oh
Oh
wow.
and
no.
all types of stuff. You know, it's fake pages, but I don't know why these people want to bother me. I ain't.
Death threats for saving somebody?
Yeah.
Mm.
That's scary. But I wonder
It's
why though.
G23 G 8827. Okay, it's not even working. I don't know what's wrong with Gmail nowadays.
Mm,
So I mean, let me put in my headphones and see if y'all can hear me better
Oh
like that.
yeah.
okay.
Cause
That's usually the
I can hear
trigger.
y'all a little bit, but I can't hear you. Gonna do an interrupt. Mic check, 1 2, mic check.
That's yes,
I
we
can hear
hear you
you great on
fine.
my side.
Now and I can hear y'all fine. How y'all ladies doing today?
We're blessed. How are
Wonderful.
you
How
doing?
you?
I'm all right. You know, like I tell everybody, this is nothing new. I've been doing stuff like this for the past 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
It's just social media is here and now we
Mm-hmm.
get to really see what I do in action. So
Right.
other than that, I'm all right.
So, D Ice, tell me about yourself. Like, what have you been doing over 30 years? What kind of volunteer work or community service have you been doing over the past 30 years?
So I come home from incarceration in 1995 after
Mm-hmm.
the federal government came in and locked all of us up with Mr. Larry Hoover.
Oh
So
wow.
I come back to the streets and I see that my young fellas ain't got no type of guidance. They just
Mm-hmm.
wild, they running wild. And so I started doing summer league basketball in the back of the school, in the back of our elementary school, just to give them something to do and have a place for
Mm-hmm.
me to sit down and talk with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it carried on, it went, and then as I started hosting these events, started doing more inside of the community, more things started opening up. I
Mm-hmm.
started a AAU travel basketball team. I started
Oh
taking the kids
wow.
outside the state so they
Mm-hmm.
could see something other than Chicago.
Right.
It grew, and I grew.
Right. And then one thing that I always tell people, because I do have a son, and one thing that because I like to, on this channel, I focus a lot on the missing and murder cases of Black women and children. And the one thing that I tell single parents, especially if they have sons and their sons really don't have male role models, I tell them to, one, watch their friends. Because a lot of times, if they don't have those positive male role models at home in the house, they go out here and they hang around these negative friends, and they start to get into these things that they shouldn't be doing. So I really appreciate the fact that you take the time out to deal with the community and just pull them out into different environments, because today my 16-year-old son, he is not only a straight A student, but he's in college. He's in college as he's currently going to high school for engineering, because I changed his environment. But I wanted to ask you about the circumstances of that day when you came upon that abandoned house. And before we even go any farther, I would like to say thank you, because I noticed in your live, it was people saying that they wouldn't have cared. Nobody cared about her. It was people saying that people had witnessed her screaming and kicking and everything, and they didn't do anything about it, but you did, you know?
And yeah, and I mean the young lady told me, nah, why did it do that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it did. This phone is straight tripping. It kicked me out. But no, can y'all still see the video?
I can still hear you.
Yeah, we can still hear you. Mine does that a lot too sometimes,
Yeah,
like
let
these
me, because
times.
people calling me. Let me go back in here and do this. There you go.
Yes, we can still hear you. So
I think he's gonna go out and come back
come
in.
back in. Yeah.
But that's amazing, and I did see that he has like a coaching league and everything. I thought that was what was up, you know.
Yeah. So what happened? I mean, what happened was the young lady say she had been in there since Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and she said she was trying to get people attention,
Mm-hmm.
but it wouldn't work. So let's see, and they want to come.
Now,
Some okay.
is it somebody that lives directly next door to that house
Yes, it is.
and they have children?
Uh-huh.
And they, from what I heard in that live stream, nobody thought to report that or step in and intervene. Why do you think that is?
I think that the person that the little kids had told that they was hearing noise didn't really take it serious and just thought maybe it was some kids in there playing or somebody just in there hammering some, fixing the place up. I mean, you can't expect for a kid to be conscious to say, "Oh, it's somebody trapped in there," just
Right.
because they hear some noise.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So do kids
uh,
do the kids like oftentimes play in those abandoned houses?
yes, in our community, yeah. I mean, a lot. Some of the teenagers use the abandoned houses to go in there, and kick it. You know how they little kickbacks and different little things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, wouldn't nobody really expect that somebody was in there being held hostage? But Roseland, Roseland, which is the community over from me, which is really like I'm from West Pullman, and we have a neighborhood that's the Greater Roseland. That's the most known place in the far South Side. Roseland is the highest sex trafficking area
Wow.
in the city of Chicago.
Oh
Wow.
wow.
Because we divided by two expressways. We got an expressway to the east, and we got an expressway to the west.
Mhm.
For you can just grab them and jump on the expressway and you gone.
Wow. And I didn't know that. And I'm not from Chicago, but I am from the Midwest. I didn't even know that. I thought the most place with the most trafficking, human trafficking was like Florida, like around Disney
Atlanta.
World. Yeah, in
And they
Houston.
yeah,
Mhm.
they grabbing a lot of young ladies from Roseland.
Wow.
Because it's really like, so the low end, what we call the low end, is like
Mhm.
the 50 zone down. When they tore the projects down, they removed a lot of those prostitutes that was down there. So
Mhm.
now our majority of the prostitutes are walking through Roseland.
Wow.
So that's where they taking them from.
And that is very intriguing to me, and it's very intriguing, and it just kind of spiked my interest because I created this channel 2 years ago. And the reason why I created Black Women Aware was because I had heard of the Chicago Strangler.
Yeah.
um you heard about that in Chicago?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, right now they think that the guy that put her in the house, the
Mm-hmm.
FBI called me. They think he might be the serial killer that they looking for.
Wow.
So
Because
they really want to catch him so they can talk to him.
wow. So I got so many questions. So the first question I'm gonna because they come and go. Like my mind is going right now. I have so many questions because the Shy and the Chicago Strangler was a really huge influence on me when I started to when I created Black Women Aware in June of 2020, because I seen all of those news articles and those news videos, and nobody was really paying attention like that. And I just felt like any day it could be like me, it could be somebody I know, you know what I'm saying? So,
Mm,
and it will go unnoticed. So I know Chicago, when I studied the Chicago Strangler at the time, this is 2 years ago, they said that they thought they had more than one serial killer. And it's a man in prison right now who was murdering women in Chicago, mostly Chicago and Illinois, the Illinois area, but Indiana as well. So they interviewed him because I know they said corpses are starting to pop up, and they're trying to link these women that they're finding to this man that they already have locked up. So they think this man who had this woman in that abandoned house, they think he is the actual serial killer.
yes, it's a possibility that he could be the man they looking for.
Wow. So do you think and this is kind of a hard question to ask, but do you think had you not been there, that woman like would have made it out of that alive? I know it sounds like a stupid question, but I have to ask it and just get your honest opinion on that.
Well, she said on the news herself that he said he was gonna kill her.
Wow.
So yes, to answer your question, if I wouldn't have came along and found her, she probably would have died that night.
Wow. And again, I thank you for stepping up and like just growing a curiosity and looking more into it, because especially
Mm-hmm.
from what you said, like the kids go down there and play in them abandoned houses and shit. And you know, excuse my French, I cuss sometimes, the ice on this channel.
Hey, did you see my video? I
Yeah.
had them and they was commenting like, how can he use such profanity? Man, I didn't know if it was a little girl in there, a bunch of little girls. I was mad.
Yeah, and then like when I went live earlier, I know you said you were down at the mayor's office talking to them, and so I was cussing out people in chat rooms because when I watched that video, people were like, you know the part of that live where you was like, you know what? Now he knows, since we caught this victim, he knows not to put his victims near the boarded up windows, right? He knows
Right,
to be smarter. So it was somebody, and they were saying, like, because these people are not awake to criminals and how criminals think, right? So it
hmm
was somebody in a chat, and they were saying, well, why would he say that? He's giving the predator more ideas. And I said, no, dumbass. I said, criminals think like this. I said, this is how they think. And you know, you seem like, no disrespect to you, DIs, but you seem like you from the hood just like I am, you know, so you know when criminals do this type of shit, whether they get arrested or whether they get away with it, they relearn how they do shit. You know what I mean? They don't do shit the same. Like I was saying earlier in the live that you couldn't make it to because you were tied up, but I was saying earlier how I know boosters who, when they, you know what a booster is, right?
Oh, most definitely. Hold on, stop. Let me these folks that he calling me. Hang up. Hold on. My inmate number is B45109. That number stays with me forever.
Right. So I
So
was
yeah.
So I was telling somebody, I said, look, I said, boosters, when they go in and they're robbing stores and they're getting their merch or whatever, if they get out or if they get caught, the one thing, a booster is a thief that goes into a store, they steal a bunch of merch and they sell it on the streets. That's what they do. But if
That's what
they
they
get
do.
caught and they come out of it or whatever, whether they get caught or not, I literally have people that I know in the hood I grew up with, and they'll tell you, hey, if, and I ain't gonna say the actual store name, but I'm gonna just rhyme it with something else. If you go into Lacey's, watch out for that fat dude, that loss prevention dude, because he's the one who's gonna take you down when you go. So basically what I'm saying, Blue Bloop, is with this predator, it was people going off and saying, oh well, why is DI saying this and why is DI saying that? And I was like, you know what? Everything DI is saying, that predator has already come to that conclusion. He's already made up in his head, I can't go back to that neighborhood. I can't use that hot spot no more because they own it. It's hot. Have you ever heard anybody say it's hot, Blue Blue? The spot is hot, so I got to switch up how I do things. I
Hooty
can't
hoo.
go there anymore, right? So I can't hear you, DIs. Hold on. I think you on mute. Hold
My
on.
mic.
There you go. Hold on.
Oh,
That's our people for you. Our people just, and I hate to say that about my people, but sometimes my people just they be left field.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they not
And
they
you
not
can't
paying
make
attention.
everybody happy.
And true,
And
and
that's it.
true, he had her. He had her away from the window. She
Wow.
pulled off the baseboard of the framing of the bottom of the baseboard and used that to hit on the window.
Wow.
Wow. But
So,
you know, I was
go
gonna
ahead, sis.
say, so Candace, she usually hit on the questions about why. Me, I'm more like I take the inner spot of it. What discernment did you have? Like, what is just like, okay, I got to do something about this. Like, what was it, like a voice in your head, like, hey, or was it just like something that, like, was it like a nagging type deal, or was it just something you just was like, okay, let me go check this?
let's say curiosity.
Got
We're gonna
you.
say curiosity because the first thing was I'm like, who the hell is in this abandoned house beating on his house? Ain't nobody supposed to be in there. Ain't no workers. The boards are up. I can understand if
Uh-huh.
the front board was off and some men was coming in and out doing some work, or it was a truck parked in front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm like, hold on. Somebody in this abandoned house that ain't supposed to be in this house. Let me
Mm-hmm.
go see what's going on. And as I got closer, is when I heard her screams.
Wow.
Mm.
So I wonder, like, and I know, like, right now she wants to remain anonymous, but I wonder if she has like been seen and released from the hospital, and is she okay now?
Yes, she did. She did an interview with a couple of the news stations, the ones that was there when she walked up. She gave me a hug. She said thank you, and she talked to the news people. I think y'all can go on my page, and
Mm-hmm.
I posted the NBC. I mean the interviews on my page. But if not, I'll give y'all my wife page too. Y'all can go on her page and look. And she spoke so eloquently. And I promise you, I done seen this lady in the community so many times, then gave her money, cigarettes, bought her something to eat. I've never heard her actually speak.
Mm-hmm.
But when she spoke to the news people, her concerns were more like, I want him to be caught for doing me like that.
Mm.
So did
More,
she ever
more.
say how he caught her? Like, where were they at? And what was she doing?
So we have a bus stop on 119th and Stewart. He was sitting on the bus stop as she walked past. Now here's something that's gonna shake y'all up.
Mm-hmm.
She have had encounters with this guy before.
Wow.
Mm.
What kind
Mm.
of encounters?
She's a streetwalker.
Okay.
Wow.
So she done him up. So, and also he said, I'm tired of y'all bitches taking my money and not doing me right.
Mm.
And he
So,
picked her up and took her into the building. He overpowered her because she's small. She's small.
how tall is she?
She's about 5'4", 5'5",
Mm-hmm.
5 foot even, about 5, yeah,
Mm.
5 foot even, and with a slim petite. So it
Mm.
Wow.
was easy for him to grab her, hold her, and take her on in there. She said she was trying to fight, but he was too strong for her.
It sounds like his appetite for whatever he's doing is getting stronger, and that's probably why the police is. That's
Yeah,
probably
and
why
that's why,
they're
right?
thinking
And
that it's
they
that
and
person.
right, the Fed said some of the women that they have interviewed from the serial killer that got away said he was nice and he grew mad.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And you know
Mm-hmm.
that's the same thing. And I'm not sure if it was Columbus or Cleveland, but it was a, serial killer up in Columbus or Cleveland, Ohio, and they said the house was stinking the ice because of the corpses rotting. Do you remember that case? It was a I don't
No.
Yeah, it was in y'all. It was in
I,
Ohio.
yeah, I think I heard. I think I heard something about it. I
I
think I
shared
heard
it.
about that.
I shared
If
it on my community wall. It's on my
Okay,
community wall.
yeah,
It's
I think
still
I
all the
heard
way
some.
down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I think I heard something about that. And she was saying she was in a room with a whole bunch of rat feces, dog feces, cat feces,
Wow.
and she
Mm.
was in there
Mm.
she
Mm.
was in there since from Monday to Saturday.
Oh
I
my
wonder if
God.
she's with relatives that'll keep her safe and
Uh-uh.
yeah,
No.
because that's scary because what if he comes back for like revenge or something? You know what I
Well,
mean?
well, she's down at the house with some other people. She's in the house now. She but the neighborhood on alert right now. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he gonna come out for a minute.
He gonna wait
Unless he's gonna
till it get
be
quiet.
hidden in plain
Yeah,
sight.
he gonna wait, but it ain't gonna get quiet. See, that's what he
Mm-hmm.
failed to realize. They on a hunt all
Mm-hmm.
day, every day. They on a hunt for him because
Mm-hmm.
we got a description of him and we got a nickname.
Mm.
Can you release the nickname or not?
His name is Mr. Man.
Mm.
Wow. And
So
the rumors
they,
I'm hearing he's an older man, like 50s, 60s.
yep, yep, yep. And
Mm,
and 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 he sits on the two bus stops. So in Chicago, we got a street called Stewart.
mm,
Then we got Harvard. Then we got Princeton. Princeton
mm,
and Stewart are the two bus stops that's got the shelter where you can sit. They say he
mm.
sits in. They say he sits in there.
Is he homeless?
No, he's not homeless. I mean, they got an address on him. They just trying to wait for him to come out the house.
Wow. Wow.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is.
Wow.
And then to think that, you know, like I understand like kids play in these abandoned houses or whatever. But how long was she in that abandoned house? Like, do you know how long she was in there?
She was in there from Monday to
Monday
Saturday
to
at
Saturday.
5. Well, I found her at 5:45. The police got her out about 5:35. I mean 6:35.
Mm.
Their response time was real slow. See,
Yeah,
in
I heard that.
Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
in Chicago, they only responding to gunfire, person with gun.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That get the quickest response. And like I told the police, and I think I said that y'all heard that on my live.
Mm,
I
yeah.
wanted to say it was a gun to get y'all here quicker, but I ain't want to mess around like that. So I
Yeah.
just sat there and waited for y'all to come. You know, I knew inside of that building she had some type of relief that somebody was communicating with her and help
Right.
was on the way.
Mm.
Right. Because I recently I cover missing persons cases all the time on this channel. And one thing that I've noticed with missing persons cases is a lot of times predators they utilize abandoned properties. So I like everything you said about like trying to clean up the neighborhood in the Chicago. I think we should do that nationwide. I think we need to start going in and either tearing down these abandoned properties or rehabbing them. You know what I mean? But I know because my father has worked in realty. My father has flipped houses, sold them, rented them, and all. So I know it's a lot of loopholes to that. You got to figure out who owns these properties and go from there. But it doesn't make any sense to because houses and realty is money. That's the type. That's the kind of that's like residual income. You can make that sitting down and not doing nothing. And not only that, but houses and realty or whatever that they don't depreciate, they appreciate. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that right, and that's why I'm trying to link up with every blogger, every YouTuber, whoever. Let's keep on interviewing. Let's keep this going. Let's don't let it die down, and let's take this nationwide.
Mm,
Protect your block. Watch out on your block. Check all abandoned houses. Get your people on that block together. Get y'all money together. Take it down to y'all local city hall and tell them y'all want to purchase this property.
right, right.
Because do you know half of the landlords are live out of state,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
that's all around the world. That's all around the
Yep.
world. Majority of these landlords stay out of state, so they don't know what's going on. They got somebody that's supposed to be watching the house or doing whatever, but when the
But
money
they don't care.
dry up and they ain't got enough to pay, he ain't going over there to cut the grass no more. He ain't going over there to watch it. You can see it happen. You'll see
Mm-hmm.
somebody coming over months. They'll maintain the grass, and then all of a sudden the grass will get so high, then it gets so high, then the tree will fall. The city got to come out, and you don't even see that person that cut the grass no more.
Yeah.
And I believe you because
Yeah, because they buy them on a tax lien
yeah,
for pennies on the dollar, and then
Yeah.
wait they time out, and then slap some paint on it, get all the stuff out the way out the visual, and then put whoever they can put in there and charge them double the amount
Yep.
until and if they can't get that,
So that ain't
like you
gonna happen
said.
here. That ain't gonna happen here. Me and my peoples and people that I have met through this tragedy, we're getting together. We putting our money together, and we're gonna go and present to the mayor, our alderman. Hey, this is what we trying to do. Here's our plan. Banks, whoever
mm-hmm,
you is, this is what it is. Landlord, if you a landlord, hey, let us rent the place. Let us
right,
rent it. Let us rent it. Fix it up. give us a 20, 30 year rental agreement. That means you sitting where you at, we maintaining the property and you collecting money. But we got a contract that you just can't come and just snatch this from us. And no, you got to honor this 30-year rental agreement.
Right. So I gotta ask the hard questions now. I'm curious as to why people are sending you death threats and you literally help to save somebody's life.
I mean, it's just the society that we living in today. Nobody, it's some miserable people out here, and they want everybody to be miserable with them. You know, my track record alone will tell you that I'm not out here. I'm not trying to get no money off this girl. I didn't put her in the house to make a publicity stunt.
Right, because I heard that as well, and I wanted you to have the time to like clear your name, and because people were saying a lot of stuff, but what I seen in that live, I didn't see you like directing to the audience in the live and asking people in the audience for money. I kept hearing you directing your, like when you were talking about raising money for the properties, I heard you directing that towards the people who live in the 11-9. You kept saying. Yes. So when people were saying that you were pandering to the audience, I didn't get that. I'm like, maybe we're hearing two different things, because I heard you directing the, like, for raising money, I heard you directing that to the 11-9. I kept hearing you say the 11-9, the 11-9. You need to clean up. We need to do this.
So 11-9 Mayberry is the name of our neighborhood. It goes from Eggleston to Halstead, from the train tracks, which is 120th to 117th. We was gangster disciples. We sold a whole lot of crack cocaine in that neighborhood. Some of you guys got that money or whatever and y'all left. Right. But y'all scream so much that y'all love this neighborhood. I do a annual elementary school picnic every year. They come back to the picnic and they party and they doing all this, but then they drive back to the suburbs.
Right.
We drive back to 11-9 Mayberry.
Wow.
So yes, I kept saying 11-9 Mayberry to let all of them know who I was talking about.
Right. And that's what I thought I heard. So when, I like rumors was flying around and everything, I'm like, where did they get that from? Because he kept saying 11-9. And then even in one part of your life, you turn around to the little niggas behind you and you like, we got to clean this up. So I was like, he talking to the motherfuckers in his community. He's not talking to us.
And the GoFundMe only started because everybody kept saying, I want to send you some money to help out in your cause. Start a GoFundMe. It was about helping her too, but it was also about helping my main cause that I'm really trying to do is fix up a place so I can have a place for this lady to go when she's walking down the street and is 0 below degrees in Chicago and it's snow on the ground.
And I can believe you about the donations, because I have a daughter, and my daughter has the same hair issue as Jada Pinkett Smith. My daughter lost all her hair in a matter of a year. Okay, she's only in first grade, and so when it happened, I wasn't looking for handouts. I literally told people, because I'm a baker outside of vlogging, and I told people like, hey, just come out and buy some, some desserts. Come out and buy it with me. You know what I mean? So I can raise money so she can see the right doctors. And people were literally in my DMs. People were sending me private messages. They were calling me and demanding that I took their money. They told me the same thing that they told you. Start a GoFundMe, Candace. We want to give you money. Okay. So I definitely believe that, because I have had that happen to me before, So
but like I said, everybody that know me and everybody that saw that video, heard me talking, everybody know that I am not a crook. I am no type of crook.
Yeah, I heard you tell somebody, like, I don't know, I think it was a woman, and she was like, oh, you're a hero, you deserve a reward or something. And you was like, no, I don't need no reward. I don't want no reward. So then
That
when
ain't
everybody was coming out with everything else, like if it was, I definitely would have called you out and I'd have said, no, don't support this. This seems crooked. But you seemed genuine in that video. So I
And
like before my thing is, and me and Cent was just talking about this the other day because it's a big pet peeve of mine. I don't like when people just accuse other people, like come out and get some
mm-hmm,
clarifications from. Or if you're gonna say something, at least prove it and back it up.
back
You
it
know what
up.
I
but
mean?
did y'all see my people? Did y'all see my people going in on them? Like my people was like, man, y'all need to bag up. That y'all need to get to know the ice. Y'all that ain't the ice. And
Yeah.
I think one girl say he gonna get the money and run. And I think somebody said, bitch, we ain't going nowhere. We gonna be right here.
But you know what? Here's the thing. You know, when you doing what's right and you follow what's right in your heart, you move. I personally feel like you move in silence and you do what you gotta do. So you don't have to worry about that because even at the end of the day, if anybody was gonna do something to help change, which you only can change your like you can only make change yourself. That's where it
Right.
starts with you. So if
Uh-huh.
somebody gonna give you something or somebody gonna give something to the cause, give to the cause and shut up. Shut the
And
hell up.
shut.
Give
Cause
to it
look,
and shut up.
Mhm.
I took care of the neighborhood with my wife's $700 link card.
Mhm.
See,
I
that's what I'm
fed them.
saying.
I fed them.
Hmm.
I let people sleep in my house. That's why in the hundreds of Chicago, you can't say nothing bad about me. I think
Hmm.
those people that was talking was out of the state.
Yeah.
They wasn't from Chicago. Even around the Chicagoland area, I am well known for housing, feeding, clothing, giving bus
Mhm.
fare. And I'm finna hit y'all upside the head with something that's gonna really hurt y'all.
Yeah.
Me and my family, me and my wife and my 7 kids, we've been homeless twice
Oh
because
my.
I put more of my money into other people than I did my own family.
And you'll be
Wow.
blessed because you know they even talked about Jesus. You see how they did them. But at the end of the day, either they gonna help or they not. And you keep on doing what you doing because I know you ain't gonna stop.
Oh no, I
And
can't.
and let them say whatever they're gonna say because at the end of the day, there's always gonna be somebody listening that's gonna be like, let me look more into it. And that's right there is gonna be the main blessing that you got. So don't shut them down. Let them keep
Oh, no.
talking. Work with
Yeah,
your integrity. Show them by doing
I
and
just
I
think
like you
tell
do.
everybody,
um
I
mhm.
tell everybody, you want to know about me? My life is an open book. Go Google me.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Well, you can't Google me, but
Yeah, go Google
but
me.
I'm
You
just
can Google
saying.
me.
Yeah.
But I think people should definitely like it before they make those accusations. They definitely should clarify or get more proof of that. Because me personally, and I'm saying this in all honesty, when I watched that live, and I do have it on this channel, but I did not publicize it because you gave your number in that live, right?
Yeah.
So like I told everybody in the first live that I did today, like if you gave me permission, I would publicize the live because a lot of people still haven't seen it. So can I
Well,
publicize it?
yes, because I mean, basically, they YouTube bloggers are doing it without my permission.
Right.
So
So
it's just
I didn't want to because you put your number in there and I was like, shit, I'm not about to be responsible for people harassing. You know what I mean?
right,
But
right, right.
then not only that, but I kept wondering where the accusations was coming from. Now I'm the type of person, if I feel that something is wrong, I'm going to call you out on it. But when they were coming with the pandering accusation, I kept on saying, but at the beginning of that live, he even told one of the people that was there, one, I don't want no reward. This ain't about me. And then as it went on, and people were saying, look how he's screaming about houses and money. I said he literally keeps mentioning his neighborhood. He's not talking to the people in the live. He keeps saying 11-9, we got to do something. 11-9, that's his neighborhood. He's not directing his message at us. And I didn't understand how I caught that, but bigger people with bigger platforms than mine did not catch that. And so I was upset because It was like they were twisting it. And when you get on these platforms and you twist somebody's words or whatever without all the actual facts, you don't know how you could destroy somebody's life and somebody's credibility with that.
But at that point, they don't care. They caring about the views. That's all that is. They
Right.
like that
I think that's what they was doing. They was trolling, trying to get their image up so they can get some money off of it. I guess I don't know how this blog and YouTube stuff go. I really don't, but I do know I'm on TikTok. They didn't sliced up the video and did TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, YouTube. I mean, they doing their thing, and I went live. I went live. So I left myself open for whatever, but it ain't about the money. It ain't about me making no money. I'm not worried about making no money. At the end of the day, I just want me and my people and whoever else want to help us and start this block club, purchase these homes, buy back the black community black worldwide campaign.
Right. Right, because we do got a lot of it's more crime in our neighborhoods than good, and I hate to be the one to say that. You know, it is some people in the neighborhoods that try to make the neighborhoods better. Like it was one other guy, I forgot what his agency is called in the Shy, but I covered a story. Hold on, y'all, let me look up this girl's name.
All right.
Because he was there when she got like somebody basically took her life, and he covered, like he went over there, him and his guys, and they're trained, they know how to do first aid and all of that, and they came
ECC SCC Tyrone Muhammad.
Jackson. Yeah, Tyrone. I was trying to get a hold of him too, because I found that crazy how Maisha Jackson, when she got popped or whatever, I gotta talk in code words because of, you know, the censorship. But when she got popped or whatever, him and his team, they not only responded to that, but he got on the live and he was like, we know CPR, we know how to tell if people are on drugs. They were trained in all kind of shit. So to get on these platforms and spin a different narrative, that's really destructive. And then to have people, because I keep on trying to stress on Black Women Aware that when we do that as content creators, you have these people who don't know how to separate YouTube from real life, and they actually go out and, like you said, you getting death threats about some shit and motherfuckers don't even know if it's facts yet. Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
Oh yeah, but like I say, for the past 30 years, I only had a non-for-profit for 4 years. I only been in existence with a non-for-profit for 4 years. I've been taking care of business on my own without any grant money, and I can continue to do that. And I tell everybody point blank, my organization, we don't get no salaries.
Right.
This is volunteer work.
Right.
You know, so if the salary stops, the job is over for you, but the job ain't over for me because I don't have a salary. I have a job. I referee basketball, baseball, and football. I go out, I make my money refereeing. I get enough money. I can pay my bills. I'm taking care of my family. I don't need no non-for-profit money to take care of me. I need the non-for-profit money to do what it's supposed to do, and that's take care of the people.
Right. And I don't think people understand how much goes into volunteer or not-for-profit work. Like just this channel alone, just running this channel, y'all don't understand. I lose more sleep over Black Women Aware than what I do baking, than what I do my job, than what I do my children, covering these cases, getting back to families, trying to contact like Riri Morrison that came up missing in the Shy. I've been trying to get a hold of her people. I got a hold of the son, and he acknowledged, like he seen my message or whatever, but he still haven't got back to me. But I go through a lot of hell just keeping this channel up and going, and people don't understand how much work you put into this. And my channel at this time, I'm not monetized. Like I have put my cash app up because yes, I will take donations, but I don't. People will not hear me in my videos just saying, "Hey, you know, like no diss to Umar Johnson," but Umar Johnson always hit the cash app. I have not done that. I will post my my handle. my name to my Cash App, but I haven't, once did that, and I'll put it in the description box, but I haven't once really did that. And people don't understand how much people sacrifice just because they give a damn. And that's the first thing that I noticed when I came on this platform, and I was frustrated about, because nobody was paying attention to these missing and murder cases unless these women die. You from the Shy D-Ice, you know about Kanika Jenkins. Kanika Jenkins got all of that attention because she died mysteriously. Okay. And people were attracted to the suspicions and the mysterious way that she passed on. That's why she got that attention, not because she was a Black woman. Okay.
Right. And she died out there. She died out there in the white folks' hotel.
Right. Right. That I didn't know. I didn't know that. It was predominantly.
Tell it.
What y'all doing out there about? They was out there by the airport. They was out there by O'Hare Airport. All right. Don't too many black. Don't know too many. Okay. Don't too many blacks like me live out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the uppity blacks that live out there.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
So what's already out there. So yeah, we can and we still puzzled by that, because you're not gonna tell me the video caught all of that, even her going into the kitchen, but the video went dead and she ends up in the freezer.
Right.
Where the rest of the video at?
What?
Where the rest of that?
To catch up on this one.
Man, where the rest of that video at? The video got her going down the hotel hallway.
Yeah,
it even got her walking in the kitchen. But after that, you don't see nothing else. She ends up in the freezer, sitting down.
Right, and somebody definitely had to put her in there, because I've been in one of them goddamn walk-in freezers, and they cold as shit. And not only that, but I don't know about everybody else, but when I worked in a big ass restaurant and had to go in that walk-in freezer, because that's where they store the big ass boxes of food and shit. And shit, you always get scared you're gonna get locked in that bitch. Like the freezer.
I bet you, I tell you what, I didn't never get scared because I had that long leg out. If it wasn't within my leg, I wasn't getting. I'd be like, hey, shout out, y'all go get that over there.
Shit, I used to get that damn broomstick. Shit, or prop that bitch over with a damn chair, but I ain't going all the way in. No. Like y'all know, I ain't no diss to white people, but I had this little white coworker or whatever who used to always be like, Candace, if the motherfucking door shuts, it's a motherfucking latch right here. You can goddamn just unlatch the shit. And then I said, hell no, I don't trust that shit.
Y'all thank God for YouTube University. I don't go nowhere without my phone. I'm gonna
y'all see what they did to that white boy in that bank in Harlem Nights?
But shit, gotta worry about that.
Yeah, put his ass in that safe.
But they ain't even gotta worry about that, because I ain't going by myself. If I go in there, we all going in there. We all freezing up.
All right, so ladies, I got a 8 o'clock. I got an 8 o'clock Zoom. We can hold another meeting. We can hold another Zoom at another day. I'm willing to keep talking about this, because at the end of the day, there are women coming up missing every day. And I do truly believe, from me finding her in that house, that's how they do it. They kidnap these women. They put them in an abandoned house until it's safe to move them to wherever they're going to move them to. So we have to really shed a light on these abandoned houses. It's only one or two things can happen. Well, three things: fix them up, sell them, or we're going to burn them down.
Well, I agree, and I thank you for coming up and speaking with me. And we definitely got to do it again, because we got to keep up with you and your progress and everything, and keep doing what you're doing in the Shy. It's good to know that it's people in the Shy that still give a damn about the city. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. All right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. All right, y'all have a nice night. Keep me posted. Hit me up anytime. You got my number. You got my email. Keep me posted.
I definitely will. You take care.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. So, we definitely got to thank them for coming up, and especially because I believe this week has been very busy for D-Ice with just covering just this one story alone. So, and then not only that, but having the courage to look into that house and and do something, you know. And from what it makes a lot of sense now that I spoke to him, and I hope y'all got the gist of what he was saying. He said it's a lot of teenagers that go into those houses and they play around, and so oftentimes the women, they go ignored when they go into these houses with these predators, because sometimes people assume it's teenagers in there, right? So it's not just like it's an empty quiet house and you just hear people banging up and asking for help. No, sometimes when you're going about your way, it's teenagers playing up in there. So basically, the reason why I brought out that part of what he said is because just like with these missing and murder cases, the missing cases, when I get to talking to the families or the people who know the victims, they know more than what the missing ad is saying. And then nothing makes sense until you talk to somebody who really knows what's going the fuck on. Okay. So I'm glad that he came on here and he dispelled that part, and I hope that they get this guy off the streets or whatever. I'm glad the police know who he is, you know. So we did hear that. And yes, did you ever hear about not the Chicago Strangler, but Kanika Jenkins?
Yeah, not. I mean, once he had described it, then I was like, oh yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, but I didn't really get into the details. I had a lot going on in my life at that time, but I did remember hearing about
I
that.
couldn't get into it at the time that it happened because it was so, just like a lot of these cases is what I'm finding. It was so many rumors going on about Kanika Jenkins that I didn't know what to believe and what not to believe. It was so much
Mm,
speculation. You know what I mean? That I didn't really know what to believe and what not to believe. And so I left it alone because at that time I believed, you know, if I leave it on ice, you know how stuff
okay.
just uncovers itself. Like some of these cold cases are just solved out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was believing. I was like, if we just leave it alone, you know, and let it cool on ice, because it's hot right now, let it cool on ice. And then later on, it'll come out.
It'll come out.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll come out what's going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but yeah, girl, a big part of me starting Black Women Aware was one, I was in a DV situation. Okay. I was in a DV situation. And then two, even though I was in a DV situation, that still wasn't enough to get me to start Black Women Aware. So the second push that I got was learning about the Chicago Strangler, okay, and the serial murders that was happening there. And it was like they were barely making local news, y'all. They was barely making the local news.
And
And
ain't it
so,
crazy how
yeah,
they thinking that it might be linked?
you said what?
I said it's crazy that they think that the person that did this may be somehow linked to the
To me,
Chicago.
it's not crazy because I've been following it for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they have been saying for the last 2 years because they have caught a serial killer already. Africa, let me look up the girl's name, but her first name is Africa something. I think she's a biracial chick, and she was a S word worker. And one of these guys, hold on, he ended up murdering her, and he's in prison now. And they went to him because they were finding Africa Hardy is her name. Africa Hardy, that was the victim's name. Okay, from in South Chicago. No, that's Africa Bass, but Africa Hardy, Darren Van was that serial killer, right? His name was Darren
Mm-hmm.
Van. Let me put his name. But yeah, Africa Hardy and Darren Van. And so they went to the prison where Darren Van is locked up right now, and they was asking him, because I'm telling you, when you when they were interviewing with Derek Van, I looked at him, I was like, damn sure that's a serial killer, because he showed no emotion. And he was talking to the investigator, and he was like, yep, it's more in Illinois than it is in Indiana. He was talking about it like he had killed flies.
Wow.
Yeah, because yeah, he was going up there, and I'm putting it in the chat because so people can get the name, because sometimes when you say things, it doesn't sound the same as when, you know what I mean. So let me put that in the chat so people, if they want to look it up, they can. But yeah, that case I studied. I came across Africa Hardy's case, because a lot of times, you know, if I just want to learn about, because like I said earlier, you don't have to be no goddamn criminal scholar to learn how to get away with murder. And it's sick to say that, but that's the world we live in. All you got to do is watch Investigation Discovery. Like I was telling that young lady who was trying to fight for her life in the comments with me earlier. So I sometimes in my lax time, when I'm relaxing and I really don't want to read about crime and law and all that shit, I will watch the crime shows. And I was watching, I believe, Fatal Attraction or one of those TV one shows, and they was going over the Africa Hardy case. And what piqued my interest, because I was half asleep when I was watching it. Y'all got to understand, my sleep schedule and my insomnia is crazy. Sometimes I can literally be in deep sleep and still be half up, because all of this shit that's going on with these cases, my mind just never stops going. Okay. So what caught my eye and what made me sit up alert is when they said this guy is one of the Chicago serial killers, right? And so not only that, but he was basically his target, like a lot of these serial killers, was the streetwalkers. You know what I'm saying? It was them. And so this young girl, they was going over her case specifically. And then as they went over her case in that episode, they began to uncover. And he wasn't only targeting Black women, he was targeting anybody who was living that lifestyle. You know, just like, I don't know if y'all ever heard of Maury Travis, but Maury Travis is one of the demonic serial killers too. He was let me see when more, because Maury Travis unalived himself, but he was in St. Louis. He wasn't too far from the shot. Okay. And these guys basically, so at the time of me creating Black Women Aware, I had felt like some deep feeling of responsibility, like I have to do something. I can't sit here and not do anything about this. You know, I have to do something. I have a voice. And at the time I was thinking like, hell, I ain't got no money, I don't have nothing like that, but I do have a voice and I want to share my voice. So I mean, y'all can go to the first video and come to where I am now, and you'll see all the improvements that I have made over the last 2 years with this channel. But Maury Travis, he passed away because he unalived himself in June 10th of 2002. But I was talking again, because I'm always talking about this stuff. This stuff has become a part of my everyday life. And the Watts, have you heard about the Watts case, Sid? So the Watts is a family of no color, and their house recently went on sale. And basically, the husband unalived his wife and his children. I'm gonna put you on mute, Sid.
Okay.
But he unalived his wife and his children in that house, and the house just recently went up for sale. It's on the market, and people were discussing the house and saying how I don't think I could live in that house because of what he did. And I was like, the Watts house, I could definitely live in it, because I bless it, you know, bless that house, get all the bad spirits out, and I'll be fine. The one house that I could not live in is the Maury Travis house in St. Louis. And the reason why I had brought that case up to the woman that I was talking to about it earlier is because she was just making all this fuss about the Watts house. And I was telling her, have you ever heard of Maury Travis? She said, Candace, no, I've never heard of Maury Travis. I said, well, Maury Travis, his mother gave him a house, right? And so when he was alive, he lived in that house, and the upstairs was very immaculate. It was cleaned up. Everything was always in its proper location and things like that. But deep in his basement, he used his basement as a torture chamber. He would tie those women, chain them to the pole, and he would record himself tormenting them and unaliving them. And this was a Black man doing this to Black women. He had 17 victims total, right? So we were talking about houses, creepy houses being on the market. And I turned around and I told the woman I was talking to, I said, you want to know about a creepy house? Look up the Maury Travis house, because after he committed, like he took his own life and everything or whatever in the jail cell, his mother took that house and put it on the market for Section 8 housing. And it was a story that came out, and the Section 8 recipient had actually moved into the Maury Travis house. And not only did she move into it not knowing the history of that house, but the landlord, which was Maury Travis's mother, gave her a table that he himself had eaten off of. So I told her, I said, now that shit I wouldn't have been able to handle. The Watts house I could definitely handle. I said, but the Maury traffic house, no, that bitch needs to be burned down. Okay. So she was like, like everybody else always is. How do you know about all this stuff, Candace? Well, I've only been studying it for years, but that guy creeped me out. And then not only that, but Maury Travis, again, he's a black male serial killer. Okay. He had actually shared a duplex with a older church going black woman, right? They shared a duplex, and if you know what a duplex is, it's like two apartments and it's connected, and it looks like a house. It's a multi-family house, basically, right? And they said Maury Travis, the woman came back because he didn't unalive her. And they was wondering, like, okay, this man has a serious problem with women. Why didn't he unalive his neighbor who was a black woman who fit the description of his victims or whatever and everything? And the only reason why he didn't unalive her is because she was a church going woman. He had something specifically against, yeah, Aaron, he was crazy. He had something specifically against streetwalkers, which I keep telling people, I don't care what kind of life somebody is living, whether they're a rainbow, part of the rainbow gang, whether they're a streetwalker. We don't have no heaven or hell to put nobody in. That's up to God to deal with them, not us. But anyways, the woman even said, because they shared a basement, okay, and they had to share a laundry unit, a washer and dryer. So she said even when she would be down there doing her laundry, she said he would whistle, because one time he snuck up on her ass and she didn't know he was there. And so he began to whistle every time she was in the laundry unit to allow her to know that, hey, I'm coming in the basement. Ain't that some creepy ass shit? What y'all think? Aaron, and for everybody else who just came in, I put the link in the chat room if y'all want to come up and add your 2 cents. You can. But Sid, what was you saying?
I said that's crazy. That's some psychological. That's some psychological stuff going on there. Yeah, it is demonic, but at the same time, it's like what kind of chemical imbalance do you have to be able? It just goes to show when they say some people they can't help it. They can't help it. He controlled, like he said, he had a thing for the street walking women,
black women who were streetwalkers, right?
Yes, and then the one lady, he didn't do nothing to her because she was a church going lady. So he had some kind of restraint because
right.
Discipline is just shoot, I can't even think of it right now, but that threw me all the way off because how in the world can he decipher the two? That's like a God complex almost. That's horrible.
Right. And then not only that, but like I said, it's weird. What's weird about the Maury Travis case to me, and sometimes I often revisit it because it's said that like police officers have said that he had a bad relationship with his mother, and when he was younger, his mother was a streetwalker. Okay, and he would often, like, as he was tormenting his victims, like, y'all, it's some scary, creepy shit. But as some of it you can find on the net. I don't encourage nobody to look it up though, out of respect for the victims' families. But some of these videos, he's asking these women, like, before he gets ready to kill them, and you can hear him saying first, I'm gonna rhyme it with something so I don't say the actual term, so because I keep slipping the hell up. So he's saying first spill was nice. Spill number one. So replace SP with K, and y'all know what I'm talking about because I have to talk a certain way because of censorship. But he's in this video and he's getting the camera prepared, and he's saying first spill, right? And he's questioning these women. And he's like, why aren't you at home with your children? Why aren't you at home with your children? Yeah, I bet you do regret that shit now, right? And it's creepy as hell. And the one woman is on her knees. She's chained. She has her hands behind her back and she's chained to this pole. And she's crying and she's saying to her children, and y'all, this had me bawling. I was crying so hard for that woman. She was like, to my children, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my children. But one thing that I have to get people to understand about streetwalkers is, one, Some of those women are not doing that. Most of those women don't live that lifestyle because they like that lifestyle. Just like you could be out there selling drugs, boosting, or whatever your crime of choice is. Some of them people, they get addicted to the fast money. It's easy, quick money. Some of these women, just like some of these men in the community, they have criminal backgrounds. They addicted to drugs, and they know, hell, when I go in there and try to apply for a job, they're going to see that I have something in my blood. They're going to see that I have this criminal record. Even if, like, I'm going to be real honest with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people like to be bougie for YouTube, but I'm going to keep it A100 with y'all. I have hired crackheads to clean my house before, and they will clean that bitch spick and span. My uncle, y'all, was a drunk. May he rest in peace now. Excuse me, y'all. But my uncle was a motherfucking drunk. And you get that motherfucker $10 and a case of beer and tell him, hey, clean this whole motherfucking garage up. You know what I'm saying? He got the garage spick and span, and he done did shit to the garage you ain't asked him to do. He's organized everything. And get this, y'all, my uncle was a war veteran. So he was missing fingers, okay? This man was a drunk, and he was a war veteran. And like whatever you asked him, people used to love going to pick my uncle up because he was cheap as hell. He ain't charging you hundreds of dollars. He just want $10 and a case of beer, and he finna clean the fuck up, you know.
And
So
you gonna crack up when I say what I'm about to say, because you know where I'm about to come.
Let me go on mute because I gotta hear this.
They will definitely clean and organize your house, and they will definitely place things in a strategical way so they can know exactly where to go and get it if you ain't too careful. I have one of those uncles too, and I made that mistake. I trust him, but hey, it turned out to the point where I had to get a whole new car. It was so many parts missing out that car. Let me get your oil change. I ended up with having to get a whole new car.
You gotta hire the ones that you kind of have a personal relationship with.
That was my favorite uncle.
Oh, that was
I'm still mad at him to this day.
Girl, because I know, because my uncle, may he rest in peace, because it was certain family members like his mom. It was certain family members that even though he had that habit of abusing alcohol, it was some people that he knew he couldn't fuck with. So like, goddamn it, when it came to stealing money or shit, he just wouldn't do it from some certain people. You know what I'm saying? Like I have another uncle or whatever, cool as hell, very laid back, love him to death or whatever. He will get on my ass if I don't call him, right? But he didn't have the same situation with alcohol, but with something else, right? But to this day, I literally gave this man hundreds of dollars to hold for me or whatever, and he wouldn't spend none of it. And I would be in one state or 16 hours away from my home city and he would be in another city and stay, and he would call me every week. Candace, what you want me to do with this money? How you want me to move it? How you want me to, you know what I'm saying? So some of them do have a moral code, and they do, I ain't saying they all do, because some of them get your ass and you don't even know. Some of them steal for your ass and have you help you look for your shit. And they got it
exactly. Exactly. Then they hide it from their damn self. That's the thing right there. Because they really
don't even get me started.
Lord knows we done did that one before. But yeah, I got a cousin. She called him Jack Crack. She said, if you want anything put together, call Jack Crack.
She call him what?
She call him Jack Crack, and that's everybody. It ain't just one person. It's and then she said,
Jack Crack.
She said, "Oh, I guess I better go get Jack Crack to put this together. It may not have all the bolts and screws to it, but it ain't going nowhere."
Wow.
He would put stuff together. We would get you get the crackheads to put the stuff together, and they put that stuff together. They ain't looked at now the direction to nothing. They ain't, it be left over screws, nuts, bolts, and everything. But I can guarantee you, I got a TV stand right now that's been up for about 12 years and ain't never fell apart, and I still got the screws just in case. That thing ain't going nowhere, but it's missing about half the screws that belong to that thing.
Shit, don't let me get started, girl. That day my uncle put that bunk bed set together. Girl, he was drunker than a skunk and it was hot as hell. And I don't know why y'all gonna kick me in the ass like, Candace, how the fuck you didn't know how to turn on the AC? But I had just moved into this really, really nice townhouse and I didn't know how to fucking turn on the AC. So my uncle was upstairs sweating bullets, y'all, and he kept dropping the bolt to this bunk bed set. And my son at the time was like 5, 6 years old. He was real. He was like one of them annoying kids who did not know how to read body language. And you know how somebody how somebody don't want your kid in their face, but your kid keep fucking with them. So my son went to the top of the bunk and he was laying down on the top of the bunk bed and he folded his arms and he was looking my uncle intently in the face. And my uncle was sweating and struggling to connect his last bar. And I'm sorry, but we laughed our asses off because he kept looking at me like, can't just tell his ass to go outside. Because my son, when he was younger, he used to have a knack for getting on my uncle's nerves. Like my uncle could not stand my son when he was younger. Now that he's older and he's a little bit more laid back, they get along fine. My uncle, like when we were in town, he used to call my son to help him with moving jobs and lawn care jobs and everything. But back then, he used to be like, tell his ass to go outside, and that's my words because this uncle won't even cuss in front of kids. He's very old fashioned. So those are
the ones
my
that'll
words.
look at you and you look at them and then you look at them and they look at you and you look at them. And girl, don't you know?
Girl,
that's
or
too funny.
Or girl, like I used to have this family member, like, and I felt bad for him because he really was cool. And I hated that the family members who are kind of like the life of the party, they tend to be the ones with the worst drug and alcohol addictions. That's what be fucked up. But he just passed and may he rest in peace. But like our family had a saying whenever he had that monkey on his back and he wanted his drugs or whatever, we had a saying because he was a full-fledged kleptomaniac. He would even steal from churches. Okay, he would even steal like the crosses and shit from churches. He was bad with it. He was bad with it, y'all. He really was. It was so bad to where because people had respect for my grandmother, the matriarch of the family. They had respect for her because my grandmother is like when I say a charity case, I don't mean people would give to her. I mean she would give to the community. She would hire people to and if she couldn't pay you, like if they wanted to work for food, she literally would hire them and feed them. She would give people her last. You know what I'm saying? My granny got a lot of respect in the city that I'm from. So I literally witnessed when I was a child, hood niggas coming to the house and paying my granny respect and saying, look, Miss So-and-so, we got the utmost respect for you, but we do not fuck with your grandson. And when we catch him, we gonna do something to him. You know what I'm saying? We gonna mess him up. That's how bad my relatives his habit was, right? But
hold
we had
on.
a code word.
Hold that thought.
Mm-hmm.
Look, my grandma used to tell them my grandma was the same, but when they would tell her that, she said, well, good luck when you catch him, because
right.
that nigga ain't practiced.
That's the thing about my cousin. They could never catch his ass. He was slick as oil. And like we had a code word in the whole family. This is before cell phones. This is when I don't know who the phone company was back in the day. I think it was Sprint. I don't know who the fuck it was, but we had a code word and everybody, this caller ID had just came out. This how long ago that was. So they used to call everybody and be like, so and so on a mission. You better watch your shit. He on a mission. And everybody would shit lock up and it would be fucked up because the person who didn't take the warning seriously, you would because they would be calling the rest
It'd be like
of the family.
on Friday, Devo when you did
So and so the game and stole my shit.
This our bike, food.
Right.
Girl, with my uncle, it's got to the point where we said when we haven't seen him in a couple of days, we be like, oh, he must be at camp. Girl, I just found out what camp meant. a couple years ago. I felt bad.
God forgive
I
me.
said, Lord. My mom said, I said, Mom, where he at? She said, oh, he in camp. He like going to camp. I'm like, oh, okay.
He said he
In
liked
my
going
mind,
to
I'm thinking like he went to summer camp. Okay, cool. But it ain't summer no more. So where he at? He in camp.
man.
Okay, cool. And then it just one day I was sitting on the porch and she said it, and I thought to myself, oh, that's what she meant. Girl,
Man,
just slow as I can be.
my relative, like when he was on a mission, like the one thing that I remember is like once he hit somebody, once he would hit a big lick, he would go underground. You wouldn't hear from him, right? You wouldn't hear from him. And then he would surface a few weeks or months later. And one time he surfaced, I had just got my first apartment. And he kept pressing me, Candace, where you live? Where you live? And I it was so funny because I had a friend with me. I didn't have no car yet. We was both at the bus stop, and he happened to be riding past with one of his little druggy buddies, right? And so they see me and my friend at the bus stop, and he stopped and he said, "Where you live at? Where you live at? I'm gonna come visit you. Where you live at?" And I looked dead at him, and my friend was crying, laughing, like she had tears coming down her eyes. Because I looked his ass in the eyes and said, "Look, I don't live no fucking where. Hell no, I ain't telling you where the hell I
Girl,
live,
I'm starting to think your uncle is my uncle. Sure, girl.
girl."
This dude found me. I had my trash sitting on the porch one day. He came. He went and took the trash out. I finally seen him at a family gathering. He could say, just keep putting your trash out. I'll take it out for you. He done found out. I told my mom, do not tell him where I live. He'll knock on the door. He don't care what time of day it is. Just knock on the door. What you doing?
Girl,
He come in straight, take the trash out. That's when you know you can't trust somebody. He come right in to take the trash out. I said, look at him casing the place. If you need any help, I got you. One day he told me, I said, I gotta get rid of this,
she said,
this dryer. Case in the place. I said I gotta get rid of this dryer. Can you take it to the dumpster for me? He said, yeah, just put it on. Just get it to the side, girl. They took that doggone thing and scrapped it. He was calling me every week. You want to get rid of the washer too?
girl, why when I moved out of town, girl, I came back to I went back to my home state, right? To where the fuck I'm from in the Midwest. And my uncle, we do have an uncle in the family. Everybody got that uncle in the family who you can go over. He got the pickup truck and everything, and he's gonna help you move all your shit, right? And so my mom was like, get a hold of your uncle or whatever, and have your uncle help you like get everything out of storage and put it in the U-Haul, right? And this uncle is real legit. He, just older. He helped motherfuckers move. He ain't really got shit wrong with him or nothing like that. But my cousin was living with him at the time, the one who be going on missions. And I remember because this uncle is old school. He don't got no goddamn cell phone. The Obama phone that he had, he kept losing that shit. And it was real funny. I'm sorry, y'all. I got an old school family, but I remember pulling up on the house, and my mom was like, when you pull up, Candace, she said, when you pull up, you ain't even got to go in and ring the doorbell, nothing. Just blow. He gonna come straight the fuck out, right? Right? So I blow the horn, I blow the goddamn horn, and the cousin with the motherfucking monkey on his back come out, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, fuck. Because my car,
Yep.
and I'm not trying to brag, but I do have a newer model car, and it's a
And that
hybrid.
means you got money.
Right. So he see this fucking car, and I'm like, God damn it. And my mom is one of those people who she does not believe. I don't give a fuck how much money she has or whatever, but she does not believe in buying new shit. If it's still working, ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yes,
She's going to keep
girl.
it. Right.
That's
And
the era.
her truck is rusted and dusted. We keep on trying to get her ass to get rid of it, and she won't. As long as she can get to point A, point B, she's gonna ride out with her little truck, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's a two-door truck, and my mom will not scrap that bitch for nothing. So she don't give a damn. As long as it start up and get her from point A to point B, she gonna ride. So yeah, but I should have really took her little truck instead of my car. But when I pull up in my car or whatever, my cousin with the monkey on his back, he come out and he like scaling. He already like Sid said, what you say, Sid? Casing. And I immediately look back at my son, and the only
Case
thing
in the place.
Girl, because you beat the horn, they come to hell right the hell out the house. So I didn't have a lot of time to tell my son, like, don't say shit. So I just grit my teeth at my son, and I give him that look like, you better not say a motherfucking word, right? But so this cousin comes out first, and I'm like, where my uncle at? And he was like, what you need your uncle for? And I was like, well, I need help with putting everything on the U-Haul truck. Now, I shouldn't have told his ass that, but I did. And he looking back and forth. He looking in the car, all around the car. And I'm like, oh, hell no. And so he was like, you don't need your damn uncle for that. I can help
He
you
was
with that.
sizing you up at that
Right.
point.
And so,
he wasn't casing the place. He was sizing you up.
I swear he was. And then my shit is in storage too. So I don't live in my home state, but my shit was in storage. So he could literally hit me up because I had an inside storage. And all you need is that code to get inside the building, right? And you go in there with one of them. I forgot what them tools are to help you break locks and shit. You know what they call, Scent? Do anybody in the chat know what them tools is called when you they break combination locks or whatever?
I don't know what that is.
But yeah, so I'm thinking like the minute I'm like, because I told him my shit was in storage, but he didn't know what storage it was in or nothing like that. But it was inside storage, real clean place. And basically, to get in, you have to have a code, and then you go into your storage. You take these little dollies and you walk your shit to the front and move it in and out, right? So the one thing that they did tell me when I had that storage was whoever you give that code to, like they highly stressed it, like don't ever give your code to nobody, and whoever the fuck you give your code to, if something comes up missing and they link it to that code, they come back and they can sue you or whatever the fuck, right? So I'm like, I'm definitely not taking no chances on this cousin, right? So girl, it was so hard to get him away from that car because people who have drug addictions and alcohol addictions are so very manipulative, and they know how to guilt you into some shit or stuff like that. So basically, I don't even remember what I said to him, but I said something and I pulled off, and I basically went back to my mom and I was like, look, your brother wasn't there, my uncle wasn't at that house. You need to call him and tell him to come out by himself or meet me somewhere, because when this person is on a mission, like if you crazy enough to steal from a fucking church, Lord forgive my French, but if you crazy enough to steal crosses, he stole crosses, y'all, out of a church. Then what else is he capable of? That's how bad that monkey was on his back, and I didn't trust him as far as I could throw him. I really didn't, and may he rest in peace because he passed away. It's May. He passed away 2 months ago.
Girl, let me tell you, this is the last uncle story I'm gonna tell you because he ain't wrapped to it. But this one ain't here no more. But when I tell you, this man had one of them old school vans with the windows that you had the curtains on, but he didn't have no windows, so every time he turned the corner, the curtains went out the window.
What the hell? Say it again. Say it again.
He didn't have no windows, so when he turned the corner, the windows, the what is it called? Not the shades, but the curtains came out the window. And he said he followed us one day for about 15 minutes. We finally pulled up. He goes, I know y'all saw me following behind you. I said, yeah, we wanted to hit some more corners to see how many times the curtain was going to come out the side of that window.
Hell no, I'm sorry. I needed this damn laugh. I'm sorry, y'all, if I'm not sounding too professional tonight, but I needed this damn laugh. Everything can't be serious all the damn time.
Girl, we laughed so hard. Every time we turned the corner, we was cracking up. Look.
Girl, we had this man in the neighborhood back when I was growing up. That's who that remind me of, this man in the neighborhood named David. Girl, David used to, and it's crazy because men like this don't exist no more. David was smart as fuck. He was very articulate, but he basically was like a street dude. I can't say a hood nigga because when you think of hood nigga, you think about a thug or something. No, David was a street dude. He was just well known around the neighborhood and shit. but he didn't really have much going for himself. And he used to ride around this damn station wagon or whatever. Now, today's day, you got to be worried about Chester the molester. But David was not like that. David was like real cool with my granny. He used to come over and he used to get paid to do favors for her, like maintenance jobs and shit around her house or whatever. And he used to take all of us kids back in the neighborhood where I grew up. You had the penny candy stores, but on the weekends or at certain times when the penny candy stores closed, you had people selling candy and shit out of their houses and shit. So David was the one, like David fooled the whole block. I don't know which black movie that was where the he was, I think it was don't Be a Menace, but it was a clip in the movie where you got this dude with dreads and he's panhandling and he looks homeless. Then when after he's done panhandling, he takes all of his rags off and he gets into this Benz and pulls off in this movie.
Yeah, that's don't be a menace while drinking your gin and juice in the
Yeah.
hood.
So that's how David was. David had the whole block full. David used to ride around this long ass, old, raggedy ass station wagon. He was very articulate, but how he dressed and shit, you would think like this motherfucker's a complete dusty or whatever, right? So David done grabbed all the kids on the block, took us to I forgot this what the house was called, but it was this one couple's. It was a married couple. Their house in the neighborhood. We went over there. We bought all our little penny candy and shit, and we was going like riding around with David. David used to keep us laughing and shit, and of course, like he was a friend of family. Like our parents and shit knew him, so it wasn't like we just jumped in the car with a fucking stranger like it is today. But yeah, but David took us to, I think, this one storage unit, and where he, like, it was an outside storage unit where he keep cars and shit, you know. And because we used to always talk shit about his station wagon. So when you brought up your uncle, I immediately thought about David because we used to talk big shit about his station wagon until, girl, he was like, before y'all go home, we taking a fucking detour. And he pulled up at the storage place and he opened the storage locker, and the car, it was like a sleek Cadillac, some type of old school Cadillac or whatever. But David was that kind of dude. He was the kind of dude that used to run around the neighborhood, look like he ain't got shit, but he really used to, have bank. But girl, that's how we knew he was coming on the block, girl. So when you was telling that story, girl, all I could think about is being in the neighborhood and shit. You wouldn't even see David. You would hear that goddamn low gas station wagon coming up the block. And girl, when we heard the damn shit, everybody used to get ready like shit. We finna go to the candy store. We finna, but girl, I miss them little funny characters like that from back in the day. Or Big Booty Judy. Big Booty Judy was for all the kids back in the day. Big Booty Judy in our neighborhood, she used to run the tutoring or whatever. So whenever I had to, because my granny again, she lived in a black neighborhood. She didn't live in the hood where it was rough. Everybody was robbing each other. No, my granny lived in a black neighborhood. In her neighborhood, there was teachers in the block. There was people who actually did for the community. It wasn't where you go into these hoods, because the first thing people think about when you say hood, they think about niggas standing on the corner, getting robbed, abandoned properties, graffiti, and all that shit. No, my granny lived in a black neighborhood. Okay, so black neighborhood is different from the hood. Okay, but Big Booty Judy was like this early 40s, mid 40s woman. She had these big ass hips and she had a big booty, and she used to dress fly. I think she never got to enjoy her life in her 20s or whatever. I used to love hanging around her too. She ran the tutoring program, right? And she used to be real good with kids, and she didn't have no damn kids. I don't think she was able to have kids, right? So she always took to the kids in the neighborhood. So we had characters like that in the neighborhood who actually looked out for the kids. We had this old couple across the street from the from my grandmother's house, and you wouldn't, like, how them kids be playing, they nigger knock on the people's doors. They basically knock and run off, ring the doorbell, run off. They nigger knock on the doors. Back in the day, we couldn't do that shit. And even though I grew up in the Midwest, this couple was like country as hell. Shout out to them, may they rest in peace, And they used to sit on their damn porch, and the wife was cool, especially when her husband wasn't around, but the husband was mean as fuck. And my granny used to always tell us, don't go nigger knocking on his door, because this was back in the day where we stayed out at real late, because we knew the whole neighborhood. Everybody knew each other. And she would say, like basically she would tell us don't nigger knock at all. But she would say, if you go to anybody's house and nigger knock, you better not go to the motherless house. Because if you go to their house or whatever, the husband has a big ass long shotgun and your ass go get popped, if you go to that house playing on their door or whatever. But that couple, the reason why I brought them up is because they just sat on the porch and they watched the block. So we really couldn't get away with shit because they watched the block. They would never say nothing to you. They just sat, had their iced tea or whatever. In the morning, they would have their coffee and their newspapers and they would watch the block. And my grandmother, on the summers when I would visit her, of course, it was other family in the house. So my grandmother, when she was at work or whatever, she would come home or whatever, but you would never know word got back to my mom. You would never know word got back to my dad about whatever the hell we had done because this married couple, they never said shit to you. They just watched your ass, and if you was in the neighborhood clowning, they would just, go through their little connections or whatever. And before granny got home, because my grandmother was not the disciplinarian when we went over to visit her. My granny, I call her milk and cookies, y'all. I literally still to this day call my granny milk and cookies because she was the sweet grandmother. She was very nice. She spoiled us. She babied us. I ain't gonna lie. She was not big mama. She was the milk and cookies kind of grandma. Okay, my paternal grandmother, may she rest in peace, because I just lost her earlier this year. She was big mama, even though she was skinny. She was like she was big mama. But my granny on my paternal dad, on my dad's side of the family, she was, she was hood with it. We couldn't fuck with her. You couldn't get shit over with her. You knew by the way she carried herself that you was not getting shit over on her. You know what I'm saying? That's where my dad got that authoritarian shit at. He got it from his mother because, like, when you met my paternal grandmother, you knew you wasn't playing that shit with her. It was do what I say or get dealt with. And the crazy thing about my paternal grandmother is she never did use corporal punishment on us. She never had to. We were scared of her, how she, held herself.
How she looked at you.
I swear to God. And my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, had this Doberman pinscher named Shadow. And the dog was like the biggest snitch ever. He was my it was a she. She was my grandmother's right hand. And so whenever we got out of line, you know what I'm saying? Shadow, especially if Shadow was there. Girl, Shadow go in that kitchen, start barking. My granny in there whipping up greens. She always kept some type of soul food cooking. You know what I'm saying? She's the grandmother that, shout out to the comedian D.L. Hughley. He even talked about his mean grandmother, the one that you went over her house and you'd be like, hell no, I do not like this bitch and she don't like me. But she never did use corporal punishment on us. Like, she never did. You just knew by how she carried herself that she wasn't to be fucked with. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? And those be the ones you be clingy to. Because let me tell you, some of these kids that's friends with my kids, I don't even know why they don't like. I don't know why they like me. They be on the phone when I'm like, who you talking to? They say, hey, they talking about, and I keep going. When I walk into the school, they hey T. They don't even know my name. They call me Miss whatever. Hey T, hey TT, and I look at them. They freeze up, and I tell the teachers if they mess up, call me because I'll be there. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's all about how you carry yourself and that look. Because I got to rest them bitch face all day long. I don't look welcoming at all until you meet me. Then you see past that. But until then.
I don't really, girl, you come off more silly to me than rest in bitch face. Every time I look at you, I be like, me and hers finna laugh our asses off because you so silly. Maybe to the kids, you got rest in bitch face.
No, that's because that's because you know me now. But I'm saying, if you looking at me, I get that all the time. Like, I used to think you were so mean. And I'm like, no. It's either you're going to love me or you're going to not like me at all. And either way, I don't give a fuck. So it is.
Yeah, then you always, like, when I first met you, you always came off as like when we first met, I always thought like this person is about their bag. They about their business. That's what I always used to think. I literally used to always think that. Like this person is
Well,
about a mm-hmm.
you were right, very right.
She said you right.
You wasn't wrong on that part because hey, these gears get to going and hey, ain't no stopping me.
Mm-hmm. Girl, but yeah, that's what I thought. And then when you showed your giddy side, I was like, oh, she's silly like I am. You know what I mean? But yeah, girl, I I don't know. I lost my train of thought that quick. We've been on here just vibing. Um,
Yeah,
and that's sometimes y'all you have to loosen up and you have to laugh a little bit, especially me. I be needing all the comedy I could get surrounded, especially because most of the time I'm covering these cases or whatever. And but again, I thank D Ice for coming on here and speaking with us, and he sent me a link to something. I'm gonna look into that and hopefully I can watch the progression of what happens with this case and with that predator or whatever, and they get him off the streets or whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna keep the that bridge open. So if he ever wants to come on here and like give me an update on what he's doing and where the case is going, because again, sometimes when you talk to the people that are close to the victims, you can kind of figure out more of what's going on rather versus waiting on a news article, a cleaned up, prettied up news article. You know what I mean? Because all the time the news don't have the information that the other people have. Okay, so um, again, I hope to have him back over here. Y'all, excuse me, because I'm yawning and shit. But again, he gave me the permission to publicize that live. I did publicize it, and it is on my YouTube channel. Okay, so if you want to see the live of the day,
yeah.
yeah, so it's on there, and I didn't put no commentary on it, but I am gonna go and pin to the comment section that you guys have to be respectful because I didn't put my intro on it. I didn't put any commentary or anything. I just left it on there raw so y'all can watch it. But I thank you, Ruby, thank you, Chelsea, Aaron, Bloop Bloop, Keek. Thank you
Bloop
all
bloop.
for hanging out with me. Excuse my coughing and everything. So Chelsea wrote earlier, she said, I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm so happy that you were put in that specific place at that specific time to hear this young woman's call. Thanks for all of you. Well, thank you, Chelsea. And I work hard on not only holding myself accountable, but keeping this page running. I'm still in the learning as a content creator. I'm still learning. There's so much for me to learn as a content creator. So I am new to YouTube in that aspect. Okay. But I thank you, Chelsea, for that.
And I'm just moral support.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just moral support here. You know,
Well,
just
as you evolve, you'll become something more. You're still learning because y'all Sid don't know social media like I do.
no,
Okay, like
definitely not social media.
Sid could tell you. I need to probably do one of those interviews on Sid because Sid has a lot of knowledge when it comes to insurance and things like that, and the medical field. Because she's been in the medical field longer than I have. So when it comes to stuff like that, she's very aware. But when it comes to social media, I'm your girl. Like out of the two of us, okay. But yeah, I definitely thank D Ice for coming on here and speaking with me and speaking with Simp. Okay. So yeah, I'm eventually gonna get off of here, but I'm still trying to read some of y'all comments that y'all wrote earlier. So Ruby said, I guess you should have shot one in the air. Okay, I don't really know what she referring to. I don't know. Maybe she's referring to the ice or whatever, but that's kind of hard to do because there's children. There's actually a family next door to that abandoned house that had children, so that wouldn't have been such a good idea. But I don't know what Ruby is referring to, but I'm just assuming that's what she was referring to. But my girl Ruby always means well, so I don't think she meant anything by it. Bloop Bloop said it's hot. Watch out for the cherry tops. I heard that growing up. So she's referring to like what I said about crime and how criminals, they learn whether they got caught in a criminal act or whether they got away with it. Criminals learn how to be better criminals, you know. And people, like, I was addressing this girl earlier, and she said some dumb shit, and if y'all want to hear what she said, just rewind this live because I don't want to reiterate it again. But I had to check her and let her know, like, what the hell are you talking about? When you know criminals and you study these cases and you know the minds of criminals, it's no secrets. Like, you don't have to stop saying something in the live, because 9 times out of 10 that predator is already thinking it. Okay, they already know it. Okay, like, you'll even hear certain detectives or police officers in certain cases say, for example, they keep quiet on certain cases. Like, earlier in that live that I did earlier, I was talking about the Mariah Cunningham case, and one thing that the detective said is how they knew the guy who admitted to it, how they knew he really was the suspect or the culprit, is because he admitted to shit that nobody but the murderer would know. Okay, so that's why I didn't understand where she was going with that comment, and then had the nerve to turn around and get mad and try to attack me because I chin checked her on that post, and I said, you're wrong about that. What are you talking about? What world are you living in? You know, and you know, that's what, when it comes to dealing with some Black women, I feel like we have too much vitriol for each other. We jump to assumptions too much, and that right there irritates my very soul. You know, I'm not about to argue back and forth with anybody. That's not what I do. You know, but yeah, I didn't think she was that aware of the criminal world and how criminal minds work. You know, criminals learn from their mistakes and they learn from yours too. And one thing that they're very, very good at, which is why they get out of prisons and they end up starting businesses, is they know how to read people very fucking well. They probably don't know everything in the book. They probably won't use the right terms when they're referring to something, but they read people like a fucking book. Okay, criminals know how to do that. Y'all got to understand, this is their lives. This is how they live. And I'm not talking about creepy S-word predators. I'm talking about the people who commit crimes trying to make money. Those type of criminals, because their lives is on the lines and sometimes they have children depending on them, they know how to read people well, and they understand. And it's not just your drug dealers, it's your boosters, it's anybody who is getting a bag under the table. Okay, they know how to read people well, because they know, if I don't finesse you, I'm not coming home with any money to feed my family. Okay, so they become skilled at reading people. Okay, I've had some of my best teachers in wisdom and knowledge and just learning people and learning society. They was criminals. They was people off the block, and they would spot something in a motherfucker long before I would, and they would say, "Hey, watch that person. You know, this person is thinking this person is thinking that." So when that
Exactly.
girl said that dumbass shit, I was like, this is why Black women are getting knocked like we are, because it's bitches like you. And I hate to call her a bitch, but she rubbed me the wrong way, y'all. It's people like you on this internet saying dumbass shit. You don't know what you're talking about, and I'm trying to educate you. And instead of humbling yourself and be like, oh, I didn't think of that, you attack me and then tried to switch it on me and tried to say I was playing the victim. No, I just recognized it for what it was. You got in your feelings and attacked me for some shit you didn't understand, and you was mad because I understood it. Okay? You was mad because I understood it and you didn't understand it. Okay? But yeah, so that's what Blue Bloop was referring to when she said it's hot, watch out for the cherry tops, because she's referring to the fact that in the hood, people know how to get away with crimes, and they learn. When they get caught, they relearn everything. They learn the process that the store managers, the loss prevention people take, the police take. They learn all that shit, and they know straight up, okay, like, for example, a booster taught me that I don't need a shopping cart. I can literally walk around the store with store items, non-bought items in my purse. They cannot say anything to me until I attempt to walk out of the store and not pay for it. A booster taught me that shit. Okay? So that's what I be trying to put y'all up on game on, is some of these people that are criminals, they know the ins and outs of not only the criminal justice system, but just life better than you do. You know, and so what D Ice was saying, because this girl was mad because she said, "Oh, well, D Ice said some shit and she's giving the criminal, the predator, help." No, this is not mainstream media. This is not a movie. This is not a movie. This is real life. Criminals and predators are smarter than what the fuck y'all think they are. They're not the dumb criminals that y'all see in America's funniest home videos. And I'm not saying those dumb criminals don't exist, but for the most part, you have to watch out for these calculating motherfuckers. You have to watch out for these strategic people. Okay? You have to stop underestimating your opponent. Okay? And that's what she was doing by saying, "Oh, well, D Ice is giving him advice," when he said that he should not keep his victims by the window anymore. But then I talked to D Ice, and y'all can rewind the live. What did D Ice say? D Ice said she wasn't even by the motherfucking window. D Ice said she was somewhere else in the house, and she took a board. She shook herself partially free, and she took a board and was hitting on the window. She wasn't even by the window. So the whole time, bitch, not even knowing what she talking about. Okay? And that's why I like to get close to people and talk to them and bring them up on my panel and get their part of what happened, what really happened, from the people who was at the scene. Because sometimes people assume shit and they just go along with it and nobody knows what they're talking about. That's why during that Alexis Morales case, her family was frustrated with the public because people were assuming and making up what they thought that happened. Okay, and I understand that's natural for us to do because with these cases, they're kind of like puzzles and we want to put them together. We want to understand them. We want to understand how, why, where, what, you know what I'm saying? Why it happened and all that shit. I get that. I understand that. But that's one thing when you're just asking questions. But when you make your questions or your assumptions like they're facts, that's when it's different. That's when you gotta, if somebody's trying to educate you and you get mad, that's, to me, that's why when she got mad, y'all, I completely just dropped out the conversation. I didn't even respond back to her because, like Kevin Gates said, when you entertaining a clown, you have to let the clown have the fucking circus. You can't keep arguing with a clown. And that's what I did. I shut up and I came out of that because I realized, one, you don't know what you're talking to. Two, you're highly emotional. You're the type of motherfucker who go out here in the streets and react because your feelings was hurt off of some shit. And wasn't nobody even trying to offend you. You the type of motherfucker that'll pick up a weapon and do something to somebody because they hurt your feelings. A weak motherfucker. And them the type of people I don't like associated with. Okay? So with that being said, again, thank you to Scent. Thank you to D Ice. Thank you to my viewers. Y'all coming over here. And thank y'all for just, getting back on live or whatever. D Ice had some stuff going on earlier that held him up. Okay, so I had to come back on here and do another live so we could get his take on what was happening that day that he found that young lady in that abandoned building. I hope and pray that young lady is okay and she's in good health. I think she does probably need counseling, but come on now, with streetwalkers, that's why I said it needs to be specialized therapy sessions, because a lot of times street people, I think there needs to be more Black women in therapy is basically what I'm saying. More Black people who know the streets and came from the streets and went to college and are therapists. Because whenever people who are hood and grew up on them streets, when they feel like they can't connect to you, they will not go to therapy. Am I lying, Scent? Scent? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
Okay, I'm here.
Yeah, because I said street people. Have you seen in the hospital, Scent? We both worked in the hospital before. Have you seen in the hospital where you're trying to get somebody help? You know that they're a streetwalker or something, right? Mm-hmm. And you're trying to connect them with resources, but those resources, say it's a therapist or a social worker, they come in and they won't even fuck with them, will they? Because
they don't trust them.
They don't trust them. One,
and they most of the time we need to. That's one thing I push. I wish they paid them more, but the social workers that they have, the resources that we have within the hospitals, they can't relate. They can't relate. They walk in with a judge
predominantly?
White
and female.
Mm-hmm.
And you taking this married off, young, college educated, white and female demographic, and you're placing her with a most of the times a person of color because it's not just black women, sometimes it's Hispanic women too. The street walker who ain't never had shit, grew up in trauma, and you want this person with all this privilege to be able to counsel this person who never had it.
And
Okay?
and this is speaking from, you know, coming from a social, because I have the social work background, and I actually got kicked off of my, well, she we agreed to disagree. We ended up agreeing to disagreeing, but the lady said she couldn't, that I was interning with. She said she could not, at the end of my internship, after 6 weeks, she decided that she couldn't concentrate anymore because, towards the end I should have been doing some of the assessments on my own,
Mm-hmm.
but she wouldn't release them to me because she couldn't, some of the statements that she made. Once I never corrected her in the office, but once we got one on one, I corrected her on how she was stereotyping people.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, I worked on the floor in the hospital at the time I was interning. Um, and she ended up getting fired because some of the statements that she was making were stereotypical. They were it was like, it was all bad, you know, to the point where she would make comments like, you know, what is she doing with all that stuff, and then asking us for help type deal. If you feel like that, you shouldn't even be in social work. But if you come in there
Right.
with that demeanor and your face is judging, of course they're not gonna say nothing. They're not gonna trust those women.
And then what y'all got to understand about street people and hood people, and well, I hate that term hood because a lot of times people associate hood people with just black people. No, a hood person could be a Latina person. You know what I'm saying? But one thing that you got to know about hood people is they know a bullshitter and they will call you out on
Hmm.
your shit quick.
And
Okay?
then they are quick to say, "Oh, don't, you know, we will go on the floor. Oh, is there any difficult people?" I already knew what she meant when she said that. Are there any difficult cases? We're gonna see
Right.
them at the end of the day.
Right. And a lot of times, what I found with people of no color in my medical experience is they cannot, like I said in that one case I cover Judge Hatch's daughter-in-law and how she passed away in the hospital. She had just had a baby and she passed away. That video as well is on Kira, I believe her name is Kira Jackson or Kira Johnson. But that case as well is on my channel. But the one thing that I said in that video is I said it's still barriers in communication and understanding and empathy in different cultures. And I've witnessed this in the medical field. I've had to help doctors. I don't know why the fuck they needed me to translate shit because one, I am not certified to translate. Two, I am not bilingual or trilingual. I literally only speak English. I can understand certain terms of Spanish and French, but I'm not bi or trilingual. I can't fluently hold a conversation with you in those languages. That's two. But also when this doctor called me in this room one day, he was frustrated with this patient. He snatched me up, y'all. I was over there stealing MP5s. An MP5 is a vitals machine. Okay. I was over there stealing their MP5s. And the people that, like the nurses who would send me to steal the MP5s, one thing about a float is our IDs unlock the whole hospital. So they will
Hmm.
always send me to do their damn dirty work, right? So I was over there stealing MP5s and shit. And a doctor snatched me up and was like, "Can you please translate for me for this patient?" And I'm like, one, because I'm like, I am kind of like scent is lighter than me. So I'm thinking, because at first when he snatched me up and asked me to translate, the first thing that I went to was, oh, this must be a person of Hispanic descent, right? And I'm thinking, you can
Hmm.
clearly tell I'm black as fuck. And, I'm American black. It's the difference between African and American black. But from what I've recently learned, people of no color can't really differentiate African and Black American from each other.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
recently just learned that. But anywho, I go in this room confused because I'm like, you can tell that you know what I'm saying? So he told me the situation. He told me basically the patient was a type 2 diabetic and she had to get a few toes amputated. and he wanted to make surely sure she understood the procedure. So we go into the damn room, and when I look in the bed, I'm looking at a woman, and no disrespect to this patient, but she was black and female, and she was a bariatric patient. She was a big woman, right? So when I sat down with her, because I felt like, okay, this conversation has already probably frustrated the patient because the doctor is frustrated as well. So I'm trying to get on her level. So I get a chair, I pull it up, I sit down next to her bed, I introduce myself. And at first I'm just pointing to my ID because how he addressed the conversation with me outside her room, he said that it was a communication barrier and I had to translate. So I'm thinking, okay, either when I see that it's a black woman, I'm like, oh, either I must have to, she must be deaf or something, right? So I go in the room and I sat down and I point to my ID. And when I pointed to my ID, y'all, why she looked at my ID and was like, your name is Candace. And I was like, oh, so you speak perfect English. So I don't, what the fuck is the communication barrier? What is that about? So as I began talking to her, she went on and she said, I understand perfectly what the doctor is saying about the amputation. These are her words. And as she began to tell me her concerns with the surgery, I was like, why did he need me in here to translate anything? Because she understood, but she had her own concerns. And I just feel like he didn't want to address them. And not only that, but like I said, this is why for 4 extra years, y'all, even though I was burned out on the medical field, I hung in there a little bit longer because of that experience, because I felt like people of color needed an advocate. Okay. And at that time, I wasn't just focused on black women. I was focused on Hispanic women as well, because I noticed, especially when they go into mom baby, I noticed the difference in care amongst Hispanic and black women versus women of no color. I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when people are talking about get this lady a therapist, one, if we did donate and get her a therapist, is she going to go see the therapist? Will it be a therapist that can relate to her? Okay, is anybody willing to donate to get a black woman therapist in there? That's just my questions, because you can't just broad say a statement and make an accusation against somebody and then don't think about the details of this shit, especially if you have no medical fucking background. You know what I mean? Because some of these people, some of these hood people, you take them and you put them in a hospital environment, and you can set them down with a social worker, and social workers go over everything. They go over the housing, they go over medical needs, everything. They try to cover everything and see where they can help. It's not about just, coming into somebody's life and demonizing. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about making that person's life, because social workers sometimes get a bad rep, because some of them work for, CPS and APS, right? But what I found is, if you don't have a therapist for some of these streetwalkers that they can connect to, that's real with them, they're not going to continue to go to therapy, and they may even relapse and go back into that old lifestyle.
Yeah, you have to be very strategic when you're trying to find a therapist for people that have addictions and things like that, because it almost has to be like it has to be one. It has to be a person that can be able to relate and not get too close, because
Mm-hmm.
I've seen where they get manipulated because they empathize too much or
Right.
too little. And so it's got to be somebody that they can first visually relate, and then second, it almost had to gradually go into like, okay, gain a relationship of not even a friendship, but gain a trust relationship, and then slowly you can go on. So it has to be long term, and it has to be consistent, and it has to be something that is ongoing and not stop ever. Because once you stop, they people feel like, you know how you be on antibiotics and you take five and you start feeling better, you don't take the rest.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like that. It's just like that, and then underlying it is still there. And you can go right back where you started from.
I couldn't agree with you more. And then another thing that you touched on, Sid, that I definitely want to double down on is you said that sometimes these therapists, if they basically, you can know sociology, but sociology is just the understanding of society. You have to know the motherfucking streets and you have to know street life. There ought to be a separate class for knowing street life and being able to connect with people from the streets, okay? Because since you said that sometimes therapists are sent in and they're manipulated. I cannot agree with that more. I've seen cases where certain streetwalkers or certain women who had a lot of crazy shit go on in their life, they will literally see sometimes they are given black women who are therapists. Sometimes they are offered nurses and social workers
Yeah,
who
but they
are
can't
black
relate.
women. But when they see them come in the room, and I literally had this happen. I've been in the medical field, y'all, 16 years before I temporarily hung up my stethoscope, right? So with that being said, I've literally been fired from rooms for being a black woman by black people. Okay, this is true shit and it don't get a lot of attention. I've literally been fired from rooms, okay, people's hospital rooms, for being a black medical worker by black people. And why do they fire us from rooms? Some of them will bring up stereotypes and they'll say, oh, well, I don't think she'll give me the best care versus a woman of no color nurse, which that is not true. You know, I've actually seen women of no color dog black people versus them getting medical care from black people. I've seen that. But anyways, they'll bring up the stereotypes, or you have these people from the streets who want to come in and manipulate their nurses and their caregivers. And they know when they see me, or when they see little Keisha or Latanya or Latoya come in, and they're the RN for the day, they're the tech for the day, they're the phlebotomist or the medical assistant of the day, they can't run game on us because, baby, we know it. And you're gonna go in here and we're gonna make you follow protocol and do the shit by the books. But when they see Becky, when they see Emma, they know that they're not really well versed in street people. They don't really know that life. They don't really know those people, and they will manipulate those people for extra meds. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I see them manipulate for all type of shit, whatever y'all can think of. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, my heart do go out to that woman, but I have to look at it in a detailed way as well. I care about her. I hope she's okay. That's a traumatic situation. I'm glad she made it out with her life. I definitely don't wish no harm on her. I hope and pray whatever got her into whatever kind of lifestyle she's into, that she can get the help that she needs to be delivered from it, whether it's DI splitting, whatever, because he brought up a donation fund. So if he's going to look out for her with that money, which I hope he does, because he should, that's only right. But you have to want, she has to want the best for herself as well. She has to want to change as well, and I can't get around that. And a lot of people who it don't even have to be drugs and alcohol. Some people are just addicted to street life. Just like people come to YouTube and they could be addicted to gossip and messiness, some people are addicted to street life. And, but yeah, that's the things that I am concerned about. I hope that not only is she connected with a therapist, and I pray that the people who are donating money or whatever, no disrespect to D-Ice, but I pray that they reach out to like once they find out who she is, if she ever consents to allow her identity to go public, I pray that they donate to her as well, because she's gonna need a lot of help. You know what I'm saying? She's going to need a lot of psychological help. Y'all know my story. I shared my testimony earlier with S-word abuse. Okay, she's going to definitely need a lot of help. But some of these women out here who are streetwalkers are very desensitized to abuse. Okay, that's what y'all got to take in as well. They're very desensitized to abuse or whatever. Of course, don't nobody want to go out here and have their life taken, by anybody. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes with you and me as women who are not living those kinds of lifestyles, what we wouldn't accept, them women see every fucking day. They see women on the streets getting slapped up every day. They see women getting dogged every day, and it's nothing new. So you have to be able to, when you go into that field of social work or being a therapist, you have to be able to have tough skin. You have to be able to really read people. You got to be like a detective. Like, that's one thing that I learned early in my medical career from doctors. Doctors will pull you to the side in a minute and tell you, yeah, this is the medical field, but you want to work, you want to have an operating mind like a detective. You want to think like a detective. You know what I'm saying? Especially because the one thing, especially in doctors' offices, that they deal with is what? People med seeking. Okay. Addicts coming into the clinics and med seeking. Okay, they will even lie on their children. And I'm not talking about black women, okay? I'm talking about people in general. Okay. I've seen people of all backgrounds come into the medical offices and lie on their motherfucking kids to get a diagnosis of ADHD or what have you, so they can get it. Because what is ADHD connected to, y'all? I don't know. Maybe Schedule 2 drugs, controlled substances that the parents are addicted to, okay? Or they like to take those controlled substances that Medicaid is paying for and sell them on the block. Sick? Am I lying?
No, you telling the truth. That's what they do. And they get crazy about it too. They be ready to fight about that. And then you see the kids later on down the line, and they jumping off the walls because they ain't had their medicine, and God knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad.
They ain't had that medicine. Or sometimes, like, I know people who have, they dope the kids up on a lot of sugar. They give them a lot of sugar, so when they go into the hospital or when they go into the doctor's office, they even give them caffeine, take them into the doctor and shit, and they hype to where they can't sit down and shit. And the doctor, if he's a resident, they love them residents, because what are residents? I don't know, student doctors who don't know the field, you know. And so the residents will see that shit and be like, oh my God, they got ADHD. They cannot sit down. They can't pay attention. But an experienced doctor will see that shit and be like, let's do blood draws. Let's do this. Let's do that. You come back every 30 days and let's see how he's doing. Let's talk to the teachers. Let's talk to the babysitters.
Yeah, I'm about to say because the
You
thing
know?
about it is the insurance won't even pay for it if those forms are not completed or they not keeping up with the, you'll hear me say quality measures a lot. If they're not keeping up with the quality measures um, to those the medication, then the insurance won't cover that, and they won't pay the doctor either
And that's
because the
why,
doctor can get in trouble for fraud.
right. And then another thing that I found with the opioid crisis, because a lot of people of no color were addicted to opioids, and it wasn't like, one thing that came up is they were wondering why it didn't really affect people of color or black people and Hispanic people communities. It was mainly affecting white people, and the reason for that is because, again, like black women, when we go to the doctor, they don't believe we're really in pain. They automatically assume that we're med seeking and shit. So we not getting the meds. Whereas when you have a person of no color, when they go into the doctor, they automatically assume, oh, this person is in extreme pain. Let me go ahead and write them out a script. Okay. And so what happens is the people of no color who are getting these medications and all, they end up getting addicted. Okay. And that's why the people like black people, we really were not getting addicted like that, because they're not prescribing it to us like that. We were not
And
eligible.
we weren't getting the proper health care anyway. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of black women don't even go regularly like they supposed to unless something ain't
Mhm.
right. Unless they don't feel good, then that's when they go, which is not good.
Yeah, and I mainly see a lot of that with the neglect of the healthcare. I see a lot of that from black men versus black women, but we both genders have that problem in the black community, but I see more of it with black men. I see a lot of it with black men. But yeah, I have seen that with that opioid problem. I've had women of no color nurses, because they know what's going on, and if they cool with you, they will admit it. Like, this is why our people are addicted and yours aren't. They will tell you, okay? Especially if they feel like you're an ally and they can talk to you, they will tell you, you know. But I literally watched a student doctor or a resident prescribe 60 days. I think when it comes to Adderall, they can only do
They can
um
do 90 days.
well, I thought it was 30 days, because this lady came in and she was kicking up dust. She was kicking up steam because the doctor was like, he could tell, he could look at her. Some doctors is, they are skilled with pinpointing a med seeker. Okay, they know them, and
Oh
they'll go
yeah, I
back
know.
in their office and they'll be like, "That's a med seeker," you know.
Yeah,
And this doctor did that. She was like, "Yeah, she's using that child. She's a med seeker," you know,
yeah.
but
So
still
what it
wrote her out.
is,
Hold
yeah,
on,
they can
still
do
wrote her
that.
out a 60-day script for Adderall. That's what I found. That was because had that been a black woman, she would not have gotten that script.
Mm, yeah. So what it is okay. So what it is so the first 30 days, you have to the first when you first get the script, you have to come back after 30 days, right? If it's controlled, like if you see improvement, but you still have, that's why they have you take those questionnaires that they have you do. So you do the questionnaires. Now, if they see a struggle, because there's we have a chart that we can, depending on what you put on there, you take that chart and it'll tell you if there's some discrepancies, but it also tells you if the person is having behaviors because they're having behaviors. Are they having is it a delay, like a uh shoot, I can't even think of it right now, it's late. So or if it's ADHD, if it's uh, a delay somewhere with either autism or dyslexia or something like that, or even if the child is not even getting enough sleep. It's so many different things. So then once you take all those into consideration, then if the parents say, okay, well, I just want to keep it at that, then they say, okay, well, we'll give you another 30 days. You do the 30 days, you come back. But after the third month, if everything is good, they can give up to 90 days, because then at that point, it's controlled. It's just like diabetes. The frequency with the A1C is 30 days. If it's controlled, if it's uncontrolled, every 30 days you can get a A1C. But if it's controlled, they want you to come every 3 months, every 90 days to get an A1C. And well, by law of by what the insurance will cover. So that's why they do it in the increments that they do. And if they make any changes to any medication, you gotta come back after. That's any medication. You're supposed to come back after 30 days. Otherwise, you're gonna have to get a
Right, because they're
pre-authorization, which can
controlled
take forever.
substances. They're
Yep.
controlled substances. So, like I said, a lot of times, doctors, when they write the scripts for the controlled substances, or when you go into the doctor's office, they'll call them Schedule 2 drugs. Okay, so a lot of times they want you to say, it depends on what the doctor wants. If the doctor wants you to come back every 30, 60, or 90 days, that's how much they're going to give you until that next appointment. And this parent, when I seen her come in, you could clearly tell she was a junkie. Okay, but she ended up kicking up dust about this script, and she ended up getting it. Why? Because she was a woman of no color. CPS was not called or anything. And you could clearly tell them kids was not being taken care of. And that's the problem that I have with the medical industry in America. It's like, and then my sister, like, sent my sister broke all of that stuff down before she left, because she left the country. uh Last time I heard from my father, she's in Thailand. Okay, she left the goddamn country, but she broke all that shit down to me before she left, and she told me all about, like, and it's not like I didn't know, but when she broke it down, because of her position that she played in the medical field, I it confirmed a lot of stuff for me. So yeah, but like, she left the country, and she left it because, like, she didn't only explain to me, y'all, the medical field or whatever, and this shit that I was already knowing, like she was talking about holistic care. Holistic is when you take care of everything to do with the body, the mental health, spiritual, and all. But she didn't only go into details with that. She went into the government. She talked about the food industry. She talked about how all that shit is connected, and how she didn't like how it was ran because basically she confirmed what I've been knowing for a long time. It's not set up to cure you of anything. It's set up to treat you because you're a guinea pig and they trying to make money off of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when she said that and confirmed it, and this is the sister who survived breast cancer, and from I ain't even gonna call it a stroke of luck because it wasn't luck. It was just her being blessed. She, my sister is now, a millionaire now, right? And she left, she moved to Thailand or whatever, but she broke all of this shit down to me. And she basically, like like Sin, I've told you a number of times, I believe that phone call happened for a reason, Um, but yeah, she broke all that shit down to me. She broke down the medical field. Not only did she do that, but she went into the supermarkets and she talked about the food in the supermarkets. And again, I knew what to watch out for already. I'm familiar with red dye and yellow dye and aspartame and all that shit. So everything she was telling me, even though I already knew it, when you hear it from somebody else who is a little higher up on the food chain than what you are, it confirms your suspicions. Okay. So that's what she did for me. Okay. So to have all this stuff going on, y'all, and when you talk about street people or whatever, you don't want to, because it was a lot of speculation going on about D-Ice and what he would do, because people were trying to donate, and people mainly wanted to donate because he was talking about I call them trap bandos. Shout out to Lennon Honor. I be watching Lennon Honor channel because Lennon Honor is like my comedy relief. Okay. I don't agree with everything he says, but sometimes every once in a while I'll pop up on his lives and just to listen in because Lennon be having me rolling. Lennon is absolutely hilarious to me. So Lyndon came up with this term called trap bandos, and basically he's talking about abandoned buildings, right? So D Ice was in his live and he was saying how there needs to be something done about the abandoned properties all around the Chicago area, okay? And people mistook what he was saying, like he was begging the live people in the live for money, but he literally continued to say, and I put the live on, I publicized it. He gave me permission just now, and I publicized the live on my platform. And the whole time in that live, he keeps saying 11-9, which is the neighborhood that he lives in the Chi. And he keeps saying 11-9, we have to do something about this. We have to raise the money. And it is even one part in that live where somebody is like, you need to be rewarded. You did a good thing. And he was like, no, I don't want any reward. You know what I mean? So I get that it's black men out here who pander to black women and everything, and we always have to be aware of that. So I cannot necessarily be mad at anybody, which I'm not mad. I was never mad to begin with, but like I can't be upset with anybody because they're questioning black men when black men want to reach out and support black women. They're questioning it because a lot of black men, they get on these platforms and they just tell these women what they want to hear. And a lot of black women, because they don't know any better, they just go off of what a motherfucker is saying. They don't really go off of what they're doing. They don't follow their actions. They follow the words, and they automatically start pouring resources into these men. So I'm not mad at people for questioning and wanting to be apprehensive and saying, hey, let's take a step back and look into this further, right? That's not what I'm concerned about. But one thing that I heard in that live, I heard him refuse to take a reward. And then not only that, but when he was talking about fixing up abandoned properties, even though I'm not from the Chi, one thing he kept saying was, 11-9, we need to fix up our own properties. 11-9, we need to fix up our own properties. He never said, he never referred anything to the people who he was dealing with in the stream. Saying, you have a good night. I'll see you later, and thank you for coming on. I'm about to get off of here myself, in a little bit. But I never heard him say anything like that. I never heard him once say in that live, referring to the people who was watching his live, hey, y'all have to donate. Y'all have to donate to me. Like, I know a lot of people say Umar Johnson does that. Like when Umar Johnson is in his videos, allegedly, he is asking for cash apps. He's asking people to hit the cash app. Okay. So I had to clear that up because I did not see that. I didn't see a panderer. I seen somebody who was addressing the people in his own community and asking people in his own community for resources. Okay. And then I seen somebody in that live say, hey, you need to be looked at as a hero. And he was basically like, no, I don't want to be looked at as a hero. I just want to, get her some help. I want to focus on this. I don't want a reward. Then not only that, but he does do other things in the community. I've researched him and he came over here and told y'all what he do for the community. Okay. So we have to get down. We have to start getting down to the facts when it comes to shit like this. I don't want everybody just going off of accusations because I ain't gonna front with y'all. It's pretty fucked up that people are now threatening that man's life, okay, off of accusations. Okay, we need to be responsible with the things that we put out on these platforms. Okay, don't be so quick to believe something because else is saying it. Okay, you have to. People are very manipulative in some of these spaces, some of these social media spaces, and they know how to turn people's words. Okay, but that's all I have to say about it. I myself am getting off of here. Y'all have a blessed evening. This is Candace Yvette. Y'all remember to be safe, be alert, and be aware. My prayers and well wishes are with that woman who was rescued. I thank God that somebody was there and smart enough to say, hey, this is not teenagers playing in this house. This is somebody who actually needs help. And he helped to save her life. Okay. And hopefully the second part of this story will be they get that creep off the streets and get that woman some help. Okay. So let's pay attention to that. I'm going to keep you guys updated and we'll go from there. Y'all have a good night. This is Candace Yvette and I am signing off.